Are we live? Is this the internet? Can you see me? Three players remaining. I feel like I'm running a battle royale right now, which we need to do at some point, by the way. Yeah, level 5 battle royale. But hello, everybody! My name is Jordy Rose, DM of the Phalai campaign. Obviously, we have our lovely Galahad 5, played by Saint, Nebula, played by D&D Corso, and Les Paul, by the one and only Dicecream Sandwich himself. We are down a couple of players to start with today. You might notice that as we play, our cameras get severely fucked up, and that's because people are joining late. Thanks, Jules. Thanks, Margot, aka Lance and Haley. Oh, players can't be heard. Why can't players be heard? No, it's not the music. Hang on.
Player's gonna play.
Oh, somebody joined in.
Hater's gonna hate.
Oh my god, it's a Haley. Wait.
We are live and on camera. Welcome, everybody. You'll hear us in a second, I think.
Yes, you will.
They can hear us now. Hell yeah!
Perfect. Alright, so now I just gotta figure out which one of these is fucking Haley. I think it's this one. Nope,
Which one?
Sort of.
Which one will it be?
Which one will it be? So I gotta get Haley on camera.
Whomever could it be?
The secret sauce is we can see Haley, but y'all can't yet, so it's like we're lying to you.
We are lying, but they can hear Haley. She's just a ghost in the background.
Ooh, spooky.
Wait. No, why do you do these things?
No, no.
All I can do is wait. I'm literally not in control of any of this.
None of it.
Indeed.
There we go. She lives. Everybody, say hi.
Hi.
All hail the Red Queen.
Oh,
Oh, Chad is happy to see you.
Sorry I'm late.
Work sucks.
we're all late.
Now.
It's fine.
I know.
Alright, so now we are only down to the lovely Phelan, played by Super Goat, aka Moose. He's taking a little bit of a break, wishing him all the best. Hope to have him back on here soon. Miss his silly, awesome face. But Jules should be joining in just a little bit as they are finishing up work. But for now, we'll go ahead and get started with the four of you. Now, it's been a minute, so if you're in chat, you're in for a bit of a background here, because we haven't played in a little while. So I'm going to do my elongated intro for everybody. So, last we left off, the party of 6 making their way from Hupperduke down to the city of Felderwin, where they were called in by Jules's uncle, Zacharias Fowler, an individual known as not exactly the most upstanding individual. Somebody who dabbled within the crime of the underworld, partook in a few deals that maybe some others might not want to. But Zacharias was an individual that had requested some help from the group to deal with a few disappearances that had occurred within the city of Felderwin. The group, upon arriving, spelunked, did some discovery, and eventually found the lair of what they believed to be a Rakshasa living beneath the city that seemed to be taking individuals and animals in secret, but had just been noticed by just the wrong people. Eventually narrowing it down to a few individuals within the town, a couple of specific people, one dragonborn known as Fialtes Bladevein. They realized that this individual was very likely to be taken by this Rakshasa as one of the offerings, sacrifices to some kind of demonic ritual, that of which you were not entirely sure. But narrowing down the individual of who this Rakshasa could be eventually led you to the town watchmaster, a man by the name of Tobias Pedersen. And with the divine sense finally coming in clutch, Nebula noticing a Rakshasa fiend standing 5 feet in front of him, the group identified that individual and had a one-on-one conversation where the Rakshasa explained essentially why it was there, and why this group would do well to leave him alone. But the party, being upstanding individuals that they are, decided this would not be their course of action. And they instead decided to take on the Rakshasa, forcing it to flee, teleporting somewhere unknown. And with the lair of the Rakshasa below where the group was, they tried to figure out exactly what the next steps would be for this individual. Was it going to come back? Was it going to try and continue its plan? They weren't quite sure. So, disguised as the town watchmaster, the entity had a far more difficult time dealing with them than it would have expected. It fled, and the group decided it would be in their best interest to return to Jules's uncle Zacharias Fowler, and eventually had Nebula's changeling form become that of Zacharias, where he and Phelan took an audience with the town starosta, a man named Theanor Whisperthin, to attempt to exonerate themselves and their allies, as well as prepare for the city for some kind of attack that they had not quite yet determined the nature of. With the Harvest Rise Festival currently being prepared for the following day, the group split, one part attempting to find any information on what the Rakshasa may have planned for the festival, while the other spending time looking around the city for items that may prove useful. And after a brief encounter in the Quill and Bone goods store with a proprietor, a man named Arthur, human male, Les decided it would be a good idea to try and run off with a particularly powerful dagger, only for the shopkeeper to bolt across the counter and proceed to stun Les with a series of blows to the chest before taking his property back. Apologies were made, the items were purchased without further incident, and the groups reconvened in the home of Zacharias Fowler to spend some time preparing for what exactly they might be in for during the Harvest Rise Festival the next day. So, although we may have skipped a little bit, we reconvene with the 6 of you back inside the Fowler Manor, with Phelan not exactly feeling the best, partaking a little bit too much charcuterie, maybe a steak tartare that was not quite up to snuff, resting in his room, but the other 5 of you able to get on with your day as the late afternoon closes in. You've got a little bit of time if you wanted to explore the city a little bit further, or if you wanted to call it for the evening and try to figure out what your plan might be for the Harvest Rise Festival the next day. The details that you do know are that you spoke to the Starosta, and with some fantastic work from Nebula and Phelan, had convinced him to hold the majority of the festivities outside of the city center. The only one piece that was insisted that he have in town was his noontime speech, essentially the introduction of the Harvest Rise, the beginning of the celebration that would go until the end of the day.
You know, the one thing that is literally on a schedule.
At high noon, no less.
Like if I was a bad guy and I had to pick a time to do a thing, and there was a calendar that said, you know, most of the day's free, but there is one time where everyone needs to be in place. But, you know, whatever. It's fine. I'm sure that's not going to, you know, turn around and bite us. That's fine. I don't know these people.
You, with some incredible rolls, you had managed to convince him to host the majority of the things outside the town, but this was the one that no matter what you did, he was adamant on this staying inside the town. Now, you are still able to obviously impact that. It just wouldn't be something that you would do through the Starosta himself.
Yeah.
So, with that, catching everybody up, hopefully we all remember how to play our characters. Let's dive into tonight's episode of The Fae Lie. So, party. What would you like to do?
So have we just woken up, or is it when we just got back? Where are we at?
Everybody's reconvened back at the Fowler Manor. It's the night before, or the kind of late afternoon, day before the Harvest Rise Festival. You still hear a lot of the commotion outside, hammers hitting, nails being struck into boards of wood, stalls being erected, goods being transported outside, lots of fresh smells of pastries, freshly cooked meats being put on barbecues.
Okay, group. So, like I said, I was able to convince them, well, technically, our lovely Uncle Fowler convinced them that it would be best to hold most of it outside city limits, but they were very particular about a very particular opening ceremony that they would not move in the middle of the summoning circle. So I might have done something or I might have done nothing. I'm not really sure at this point.
So what we're saying is we should plant explosives around said ceremony.
Those are not the words I used, but that is the sentiment I was incurring, so yeah. Any other I'll take other suggestions for 1,000? No, okay, explosives. Well, we and Nebula looks over at Margot and goes, I mean, you're basically a walking explosive at this point, so
You're not incorrect.
And does anyone else? I probably can come up with. I've got a bit of blasting. You know what? I think I know just the little demonic child for.
You mean the one that shoots Eldritch Blast?
There's that one, but also there is our little ward upstairs.
Oh yes.
I do feel like she would be quite good at making explosives, considering she almost set a bomb off on us.
So
It's a good deduction.
we doing the explodey blast thing?
Also, thank you, Wes, for the raid.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Wes.
I would say. So wait, we could make explosives, but then to plant them instead opening ceremony. Are we looking to hurt casualties for the grander depiction of saving the town? 5 of you have to die to save maybe 200 of you.
I don't like that at all.
Some of
Odd
you
choices.
may die, but that is a sacrifice that I am willing to make. I literally watched that movie last night. Sorry.
And if we have said explosives, how do we get in there before we are seen or, anything of that nature?
You mentioned Gilda. Do you think maybe if one of us stuck around with her, she'd be the one able to plant them? A child during a harvest festival isn't too out of the blue.
Maybe she can make the bombs look like bouquet of flowers and just putting them in various places.
Gilda doesn't peg me as the type of girl to stuff a bomb in a teddy bear.
I mean, if she has a better idea, I'd go with that, but that's just my first thought.
Maybe she'll make a bomb look like a dog like she did before.
That's true. That's true.
I will admit, I am a little worse for wear energy-wise, and we have until tomorrow. It's high noon.
It's high noon.
And that's out of question. That is how much time we have, right, Jordy?
Correct. Yeah. So give or take right
Well,
now, it's probably
according
about 4 in the
until the
afternoon.
start of that, yeah.
Yeah. So the festival itself starts in the morning. You know that it effectively starts at dawn, running until full sundown. The whole point of it is to celebrate the sun. It is a celebration not only of the harvest itself and all of the crops that had been yielded over the course of the year, but it was also a celebration of one of the deities that a lot of people in the town pray to, an entity referred to as Palor, the Dawn Father.
Okay. So perhaps if we went upstairs and gave our girl a little homework, we could rest up and perhaps make our move in the dead of night.
Does she have access to explosive materials? Do we?
We might need to run an errand or two. Really depends on what she says.
All right.
Well, go pitch the idea to her. I'm sure she'd be ecstatic to show off some of her skills, considering that whole pulley system she did in her room.
That's true.
See,
Eager for a project to focus on.
You know, like those brain puzzles you give dogs to feed them? I'm sure she'd love it.
Explosive! Explosive! Now!
Philip.
Yes.
Philip. Yes. Bit of a weird question. But say we wanted to go on a bit of a mining expedition and needed a bit of blasting powder, all on the up and up, just a little exploratory stuff. Where might we procure that in this town?
From purveyors within the town, there probably isn't really much. But... And he kind of looks up at the top of the stairs towards Zacharias' study. Given what you had told me previously and how dire the situation is, I'm sure a few exemptions could be made.
I knew you're the guy, Philip. All right, you work on that half, and we're going to go get our excavator up to speed, and then we'll meet in the middle.
Just to make sure, are you looking for maximum effect or maximum damage?
When you say effect, what do you mean?
Running, screaming, general eardrums blown the fuck out.
Mischief and pandemonium.
Okay, you know what? Why don't we do a little column A, little column B, and then we'll just kind of mix it up.
Right.
Better yet, can you make it look like fireworks?
I can absolutely do that.
Could be a fireworks accident, and it's not safe here.
I'm just saying, it looks a lot less inconspicuous when it looks like a freak pyrotechnics versus me setting off. You know, it would be a little bit more to the point, and I definitely could, but I prefer a mob not coming at me.
Yes, I think that would probably be a safe bet given the fact that you have only just recently acquitted yourselves from some kind of...
Everybody loves a flashy show.
They do. Obviously, we're not looking for any casualties, and he narrows his gaze at you a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
Good.
I mean, that's kind of the
Yeah.
whole point of stopping it, you know.
Right.
No death, not even possibly quite mayhaps being a small chance of accidental. Mm-hmm.
Very well. Well, I shall procure what you've requested. Do you want the raw components, or would you like something to be completed for you?
You know what? We'll take the components ourselves.
Very well. Give me 30 minutes.
Excellent.
Wow.
That's just enough time. Shall we go check in with our dear Gilda?
Of course. Say less.
Cool. And immediately just like heading up the stairs towards Gilda's room.
She's in the back on the main floor. Upstairs is Zacharias' study
Right.
And room. But yeah, I know what you mean. It's been a minute. Yeah, so you head around the corner, you head in towards Gilda's room, and you're standing out at the side of the door now.
Gonna knock on it. Hey, it's us. Not.
Gilda,
Yeah.
it's your Margot. It's Margot.
It's your Margot.
It's your girl, Margot.
It's your Margot Lago.
I'm gonna turn the doorknob, but then like kind of push it open while putting my back to the wall in case there's a thing.
I'm not like those other moms. I'm a cool mom.
And so you kind of turn the
I
doorknob.
respect your personal space and boundaries and then disregard them entirely.
So you turn the doorknob and you kind of push the door open, and you wait a good like 5 or 6 seconds to like see if there's some kind of a response, and then Margot, you pipe up a little bit right as Nebula opens the door and pushes it in, and you just hear no, and then the door opens just a little crack further, and then Margot, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw for me.
Oh shit!
He's been home aloneing.
Hold on, I gotta find my D20. I was so late, you guys.
paint cans.
I was so late. It's part
So
of.
many.
I gotta. It's just.
So many dice.
Okay.
There's so many dice. Other than the-
Dexterity, you said?
Dexterity save, yeah.
Okay. Ooh, not good. That's a 6.
Why
That's a
knocking
6.
is the ideal scenario.
Alrighty. So, you knock on the door. No real response as Nebula speaking. And he kind of starts to open the door, and then Margot, you pipe up, and you just hear, no! At the last second, as if recognizing your voice, realized, oh shit. So Margot, as a dagger, just flies through this very narrow crack in the door and just catches you in the center of the chest, like right in the sternum, and impacts. And it doesn't go too deep. It only hits you for 2 points of damage. Don't worry. You're not going to be in combat or anything until the end of the day. But as the dagger just flies through, and then you kind of instinctively go, oh shit, and you stumble backwards a little as 4 more daggers just come flying through the door and embed themselves in the other side of the wall. But you did get impacted by the first one at least. And you open it up.
Well, would you look at that? I've been impaled.
I've been impaled. But as the door opens up even further and you look inside, it's been a little bit. You've had Gilda kind of there for the day, checking on herself. They're just kind of building things, and as you step into the room, she's just kind of like tossing a dagger in her hands, and the one that impacted against you was not exactly that strong. Kind of looking at it, it looks like they're like makeshift daggers, almost like made out of steak knives that she's just taken from around the house and turned them into weapons of sorts, but effective nonetheless, dealing at least a little bit of damage even to you. But she's flipping around the single dagger that you grabbed her while you guys were in Hupperduke. She just kind of looks up and goes, sorry, the family doesn't really like to. Well, let's just say that they don't come into my personal space anymore.
I'm going to remove the dagger and just. How did you get the materials to make this?
Well, and you see her kind of like looking around the room, and you look down at the bed, and the sheets on the bed are gone. There's some paracord that had kind of held the top of the fitted sheet and around that's been wound around a series of spools that look like they've been made out of different pieces of metal that she's kind of picked up in and around the room, or little bits of pottery that she's broken and been able to make makeshift wheels out of. All of the bedding itself has been torn into lengths of fabric strips, and they seem to be tied off to the top of the door with a pressure switch with a spring that seems to be taken out of some kind of a clock of some kind, or a piece that would have been in the room. It's pretty impressive stuff, and considering the fact that you had spent the night with her the previous evening, you woke up this morning and left quite early, almost crack of dawn kind of thing, but she's done this in the last 6 or 7 hours, is pretty impressive.
I inspect the makeshift dagger, and
it's got the little Fowler crest emblazoned on the bottom of the steak knife.
Gilda, do you have any other hobbies? I say this kindly. Do you like making bombs and fireworks for fun?
Bombs? Fireworks, not really. That's kind of a Hupperduke thing.
Well then, do I have a job for you? And I take the dagger and I hand it back to her, and even though I'm bleeding, I can't be mad because that's just impressive. Like, my daughter's a stone cold criminal. Like, that's great. I hand the makeshift dagger back to Gilda, and I look to Nebula and I gesture. You want to tell her what we need her to do? I'm very confident at this point that she could do it.
So we need to put on a bit of a show. Gotta say, we are doing a bit of a fireworks display, as it were, and we need to make sure that nobody in this town wants to attend the opening ceremony in the middle of town, where everyone's probably going to die
at noon.
At high noon. Exactly.
Well, now.
She just kind of looks up at you and just, a fireworks ceremony to make it so people don't want to go to a fest. You want me to make a bomb, don't you?
If you could make it look as if a sad pyrotechnics explosion, miscreant.
Oh, you want me to make an accidental bomb?
Yes, you're so smart.
But we didn't
say that.
We didn't say that,
No.
but yes.
No, I mean, you can't hide anything from her, Nebula. What are you kidding yourself?
But legally.
If you are reading between the lines, what I am asking from you, Gilda, is a collaborative effort to keep people away that may result in loud noises and things blowing up.
Destruction of property,
I would
yeah.
like you to make an accidental bomb, yes, please.
Yeah, just say accidental bomb. It's not that hard.
It's...
Well, he just said it. Everyone heard. Galahad said to
I
make.
kind of like that guy's just like straight to the point. Like, Margot, you're awesome and everything, but just like sometimes
Did you hear it?
just
She
gotta
called
say
me
what's on
out.
your
So I'm
mind.
obviously her favorite. And again, I'm still bleeding, but like, she's so smart. I'm so impressed with her. I love you, Gilda.
Yeah, so we've got that request, and we're having Philip procure some raw components that I figure you might enjoy.
Gilda, do you think you could literally blow their socks off?
Socks? Yeah. I take it you want me to stop short of faces?
I'm gonna appear
at the
from behind
most-
the door, behind all of them talking, and be like, "Yeah, that would be ideal."
At most a leg. At most a leg.
Right. Keep it to bodily harm. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I can do that. I can do that. I need a lot of materials. I don't. There's. I'm good with some stuff, but can't make bombs out of what's in this room.
Gilda, how would you like to go down to the kitchen?
I'd like that.
I hear they have a great charcuterie board.
A charcuterie board?
Never. You know what? Just come on.
It's a cheese and cracker board.
I like cheese and
It-
crackers. All right.
It's tasty.
All right. Let's do this. She kind of leads the way out of the room, and like as she goes to leave the room, just kind of reaches in. You can see her just kind of reach up to the top and just kind of realize, shit, I'm not tall enough, and just kind of like looks back and just, can you boost me up a little? And Galahad, you lift her up, and then she just kind of reaches up over the top, and you can see her like fiddling a little bit, and then you just hear a little tink, and then thump, door closes. Want to make sure those guys don't go in my room again.
I'm assuming that they learned their lesson.
Yeah, I did have to apologize. They were just kind of trying to change the sheets, but then they saw that there were no sheets, and yeah, it was a little awkward. But they made sure to knock this time. And she starts leading the way out.
So impressive.
Alrighty. So with that, we'll say a little bit of time goes by, and Philip comes back, and he's got the materials, and you can see he's got them in a fairly large, semi-ornate wooden box, again with the Fowler crest on the top of it, and he brings that over in towards the kitchen area, and actually leads you towards out of the dining hall, and then into the kitchen itself, where you can see they've cleaned up a lot of the things, are starting to prepare for dinner, but it's still a couple of hours away still, so there isn't a ton of commotion in there quite yet. And he sets everything down onto the table, sees Gilda coming into the room, and looks incredibly startled at the fact that a child is going to be in the room with you guys. But just turns to the group and, well, this is everything that you had requested. I can give you about 2 hours. Will that be enough? And he looks around at all four of you, and then Gilda just pipes him and goes, yeah, that'll be fine. And he just looks down, and now is just like, oh.
Gilda is our explosive expert.
He's quite...
That is a lot
capable.
of things that I don't want to know the answer to. Take a few hours. I will make sure that the help does not come in the kitchen in that time. Just let me know when you're done. And he very quickly exits the room and leaves Gilda to start unpacking the box.
One thing, Jordy, as Philip's saying all these things, I just want to look at Philip a little bit, like, take a second glance. I know Philip's pretty much dressed to the nines from the neck down to the ankles in the proper wear.
Mm-hmm.
Just putting this out there, probably won't be anything. Is there any hint of, like, tattoos under his garments? Like, around the wrists?
Are you checking
or
if he's
around
like
the
Alfred
collar?
from the
I'm
SAS?
just like... I'm curious if this dude is anything other than what he says he is.
Okay.
I mean, we know he's a caster.
True. And that's why I'm like, I wonder if there's anything else to this Philip character.
Yeah.
Old criminal turned butler.
Of all the days that you've been in the house, he's always worn a full button-down suit. He's been in a vest and a shirt, long pants, shoes, covering the vast majority of his skin except for kind of neck up and then wrists down. With the Harvest Festival being here, the attire is a little bit more relaxed. He's in more of a... what's the material? Linen suit. And so it is a little bit more flowy. It's a little bit nicer with the weather being outside what it is. Go ahead and make a perception check for me as you're kind of glancing over him. Perception or investigation, your choice.
Poop. It's not going to be good either way. 9.
9. Yeah, you're... Like, you kind of get this idea as he's on his way out the door, and you just, like, quickly take a look, and you go, ankles. Nah, nothing there. And then looking at his wrists, you've seen his wrists a couple of times. You don't really notice anything.
Something the way he was talking, I was like, but that's good.
But with that, the crate dropped onto the desk. Gilda kind of pulling over a little step stool that she can step up onto, and starts just pulling out stuff, and looks gleefully way too into this.
In the candy store.
Yeah, kid in a bomb factory. She just starts pulling out bits of gunpowder and black powder and fire starting components and all kinds of different vessel containers that things might fit into. Just kind of grabs one of the knives off the wall and with surprising dexterity like flips it over in her hand and just starts hacking away at some of the fuses. What I'll get you guys to do is, as a group, you're assisting her in this, I'm assuming.
As best we can.
As best you can.
Jesse, we need to cook.
I will not touch anything that she does not want me to do, though.
Alright, what I'll do is I'll get each of you to go ahead and roll a... let's make this either an intelligence or dexterity check. And if you're proficient in... Actually, no, it'll just be straight intelligence or dexterity. Your choice of the two. Because you're either being dexterous and grabbing things and putting them in the right place, or you're helping her and trying to figure out where you want it to go.
Fuck!
They call me Gala Heisenberg. Let's go.
Gala Heisenberg.
Nope, they don't. No, 9.
Natural 20 plus 4.
Hey!
Yeah.
All right.
I was rolling so well before stream, and now I'm doomed.
Well, it's okay.
Before stream, I gave 2 rolls to test my die, and I got a nat 20 and a 1. And I was like, let's fucking gamble, baby!
So essentially what's happening is each of you are assisting her in creating one explosive device. So there's going to be 4 total.
Speaking of Nat 1.
Well, so I'm going around the board. So we're going to go Margot, Galahad, Nebula, Les. So Margot, you rolled a natural 1.
Mm-hmm.
What's your total after your modifier?
2.
2. She rolled a natural 20 plus 3. So you're effectively giving her advantage on her roll by you rolling separately. So was yours a dexterity or an intelligence check?
They both would have equaled the exact same thing.
Make your pick, because I got to figure out what's going to happen.
We'll just say I'm not very dexterous.
Okay, so you're helping with the intelligence side of things.
Mm-hmm.
That is
It's
the
those
better.
acrylic
That is
nails.
the better one to fail on. So the intelligence side of things, her natural 20 catches the mistakes that you were making. You were starting to separate off different chambers within one of the pots where the gunpowder was getting added into, and then having the fuse route through the 2 of them. And she started to catch you because the fuse that you were putting in was actually going to trigger both of them simultaneously and blow it sideways. So her natural 20 effectively countered your natural 1. You have a firework bomb that may or may not be useful. So I've marked that down. Galahad.
I rolled a 7 plus 2, baby.
For a 9, okay.
For my big robot brain.
And you're using intelligence as well?
Yep.
Alright, so similar idea to you, to what happened with Margot, although you can tell that Gilda's a little bit more worn out, having to fix quite a few of the mistakes that were made when Margot was helping.
I will just jump in and say that I have noticed that all 4 of the players have just been given inspiration. Maybe I'll take that immediately and just add a cheap little D4 to, at least get into the double digits.
Right.
I will too. I'll need it.
Alrighty. And that's alright. We're at 11 now.
11.
Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
It's better than 9.
you guys are trying to build it as best you can, putting the pieces in. It looks kind of similar to Margot's. The fuse doesn't quite fit perfectly. There's a little bit more play in it. It's one that's kind of in the similar range where it might work. It might be not powerful enough. It might be too powerful. You're not sure. But you finish off with yours. Nebula, you're up next. You natural 20, right? For 24?
For 24.
Perfect. And her role was decently fine. With this one, she's kind of found her groove, helping out Margot, helping out Galahad, fixing some of the mistakes. Were you doing Dex or Intelligence?
Dex.
Perfect. So in her case, she's very much in the mindset, but you can see her fingers are starting to cramp a little bit, and she just now starts instructing you to assemble the different pieces in different ways, getting the powder in, making sure that you've got paper separators, and you've got a couple of things for time-delayed explosions. Yours is a success. So you have a successful firework bomb, effectively. And then Les, for yours, what was your total?
8!
8. By this point, it's been the better part of 2 hours. You guys have built 3 bombs, 2 of which are a little questionable. 1 looks really solid. Gilda is worn out. She's on her last leg. Her fingers are starting to cramp. You can see there's a couple of nicks and cuts from where she's accidentally cut herself using the knives to slice everything up. You do your best to kind of pack everything in there. It just doesn't feel that sturdy, and as she picks it up and kind of hands it over to you, you grab it, and then the bottom kind of gives way and black powder starts spilling out. Unfortunately, that one is a failure. And she only rolled a 6, even with modifiers on that one. My rolls just went do. But you've got 2 potential successes and 1 definitive success on your bombs for the following day. So I'm going to keep notes of
We've got 1 firework bomb and 2 firework bombs. Question mark at the end.
Will a dragon come out of the firework bomb?
It would be more so you've got 1 firework bomb and 2 firework bombs. All right, so let's just get...
What does this Roman candle do? Ah!
Yeah, exactly. All right, so Phalai. There we go. Okay, perfect.
While we're during this whole thing, between the instructions from Gilda, I just want to sort of say,
we know that during the announcement is when the people will be in the center of town, so why don't we position ourselves at that ritual chamber? Because maybe the Rakshasa will be there, or maybe even behind that locked door, because that might be where he activates it. Maybe we can catch him in the act and finish the job.
Well, do we know that the ritual chamber was underneath where the ceremony's happening?
Given because you guys had made a couple of rolls to do your best estimate of where you think that ritual chamber is relative to the location in town, you feel pretty confident that whatever was beyond that door, granted you don't know the size of the room, but it's pretty close to where that main central square is.
It's not a bad idea.
Hey Gilda. So we know that this one's golden. We know that. Now those ones over there, I know we're a little concerned about their structure. Do you think one of those might be capable of, I don't know, collapsing a tunnel?
Maybe. I mean, with the way that the design is done and everything, it's going to go one way or the other. It's either going to be a really nice firework or a really big bomb, and I just don't really know which way it's going to go. In any case, it's going to work, but I just don't know if it's going to have the explosion or if it's just going to have some nice color.
Okay. Keeping that in mind.
Maybe not collapsing the tunnel at first, just because we know that the Rakshasa can teleport at least once.
Yes.
Say he teleports in, he can set off his weird ritual, wait 24 hours, and teleport away. And we've just collapsed the entrance to get to him. That's problematic.
Nebula.
Very true.
What if we could break open the door?
Nebula, I'm going to get you to make an Arcana check for me.
He's right there!
Oh shit!
Takes off mask. Right.
He's Philip!
All right, let's
Takes
go.
off Galahad helmet. Rakshasa.
That's a now one.
Not even.
Oh, what is happening?
Okay, continue.
Good.
So blow up the door.
Never mind.
So blow up
Gosh.
the door.
So did you
I
say
would
what
like
if we blow
to-
up the door?
I would like to try and describe to the best of my meager abilities to Gilda the overall look and structural integrity of the door.
Okay.
And if she reckons that maybe two, our potentially both sus firework bombs might be able to ease our passage.
As you kind of recant what exactly happened when you guys touched the door, the magical nature behind the spells that were cast upon the group, how the door itself looked, no hinges of any kind, no visible openings. You can see her eyes just kind of narrow a little bit, and you can see she's trying to figure it out and work it out. If there's no hinges on a door, I mean, usually that means that there's some kind of arcane lock on it. An arcane lock means that, for the most part, you're not going through that door. We're going to put it that way. You could try a way around it, maybe, but that door itself is going to be locked by arcane means. I mean, short of an actual full-on fucking bomb, that's not coming down. You could try it, but I would be more worried about it collapsing the roof above you than actually knocking down that door.
None
Doesn't
of us
sound
have,
good.
None of us have the ability to dispel that kind of magic. I wonder if Zacharias can help. That's all I've got.
So right now, team, our thoughts are blow up the area to scare everyone away from the ritual spot, or go downstairs and try and catch the little monster in the act.
Why not both?
I like both.
Because that way, if we don't manage to get to him, at least we've cleared the area, so it's a win. Win, I guess.
But if we're stuck downstairs, and he does his whole hocus pocus backwards hands tiger thingy upstairs in the upper part of the region, then we're stuck down below, and it's going to take us a long time to get up, and by that point he might have slaughtered everybody.
Isn't one of the entrances in the town center? We're close enough to it.
I mean, it led to the town speaker's house.
The entrances that you know of so far, there are two paths that you haven't followed in the underground tunnel system yet. One of them you know is about 100 feet, about 200 to 300 feet away from Zacharias' house, a little bit southwest, so a little bit further away from the center of town. The closest one is through, the Watchmaster, aka the Rakshasa's home, which is directly through the sitting room. And that one leads into the main chamber where all the braziers, those purple flame braziers light. And then you can immediately from there jump south into the little walkway to get to where the thing is. The other two paths, you're not exactly sure where they led out. And then the third one, the one that you followed, or the fourth one, I should say, the one that you followed very, very, very far out. That one goes all the way out to the farming district, about a mile outside of town.
I mean, going underground seems like a little bit of a risk. We don't know what's down there. We're not sure which doors we can have access to, what alarms or traps may be unwittingly unleashed. But at least the evidence we do have is that we know that at this location, at this time, that this event may occur. If we're going by statistics here, planning our attack on that surface area is probably the best bet of engaging anything that happens.
But that still leaves the Rakshasa. And unless we take that thing out, we're back to square one.
That really
Unless
does.
the ritual is performed underneath the ground in that space we fell upon. I mean, I think it's a smarter move to take out the socket out the outlet than pull it from the vacuum cleaner, kind of speak.
What the hell's a vacuum cleaner?
We have it down in the plane of water. You'll get it eventually. Anyway.
Cool.
So are you voting that we try and scare the people off and focus on that, or that we go down and try to get the door open?
I mean, we don't have any means of getting through an arcane lock, as far as I know.
Maybe we could ask Zacharias if anyone knows how to, mess with magical artifacts. It could be him.
What about that creepy guy that I couldn't steal a dagger from?
I feel like we've exhausted that particular.
Considering he kicked your teeth in, I highly doubt he'd want to help us.
Did he kick my teeth in? He froze me with very deadly accurate point-blank precision hits. There's a difference. My teeth are still here.
They tells me if he would have spent more time with you, you wouldn't have had teeth.
Well, we'll never know, will we?
That's
I
why
could've
I'm
had a
saying you
second
should
try.
not go back to him, lest you want to keep your teeth.
Now I'm just thinking about fighting him again.
I would not recommend it. Don't do it.
It'd be fun to watch.
I see
but
your
maybe
little
another
fishy
time.
brain working on your intermessionance, but no. Les, no.
Unless you start just sitting in the corner thinking about it.
Well, I suppose there's no harm in checking with Zacharias. I mean, we've already pissed him off at this point, and Jules doesn't seem to have much to say on the matter, so...
Look,
Jules
if you
just
wanna-
in the corner, palm buried in the face.
I ain't going,
If you want to engage my uncle, you can do that. I don't know if it's going to work, but at this point, we're kind of out of options. We know this thing is probably happening at some point tomorrow. I'm with you thinking that we should probably try and fucking stop it.
Well, let's do it. And first off, we should probably go check in with Philip. Philip might be a good in-between first.
And so you guys kind of pack everything back up, all the pieces of the failed bombs, and pop it back into the crate, or the little bits of extra fuses and strips of cloth and materials that you didn't use. Pack them into the crate, reseal everything back up, and start lugging it out towards the front dining hall and kind of into the main area. You see Philip is doing his best to kind of just dissuade some of the staff, and they're wondering, like, it's closing in on dinner, why aren't we able to start working yet? And as you guys start coming out with that big crate, he just kind of, perfect timing. Staff, please, to your stations. UFO, please just bring it out here. Just give me and he just seems to be waiting for all of the staff to get into the dining hall, and then, perfect, you can give me that, and he just takes it from you. So, how did things go?
Went great. We realized there's one last thing we need. You know how Zachariah gave us those scrolls earlier with the protection spells on them?
Of course.
Do you think you could nab one or two of them with... I've read about a spell to unlock doors. Bit of a loud sound.
Those are a bit tougher to come by. Usually things like that don't... How do I put this? We don't like to keep those written down. At least the master doesn't like to, just because they give away intent. Protection from things is fairly common, right? People traversing the lands, they need to make sure that they don't get killed. An individual directly using a spell to try and unlock something, that's a little more on the grey area side that we don't like to have our associates get caught with.
Philip, where might we procure something like that then?
Need to get inside the store.
Do we have any transmutation wizards in the area?
Wizards? No. What is it you're looking for specifically? Is it a certain spell of some kind?
Yes. Ideally, a spell would be our answer. We'd love the key, but and I see Les like pipe up. Yes, Les.
I want to take another look at Phil.
Okay, make a perception or investigation check.
He just knows so much about where all this shit is and how it works. I'm getting sus about Philip's background.
Philip is just a magical Alfred. Just accept it.
A magical Alfred that may be an outlaw from some crazy mage cult that is just in hiding. Hold on down. God damn it, it's a 4. It's fucking nothing. It's a 7.
It's a 7. Looking around, trying to get a good look at him. You're kind of just enraptured by him as a guy. Like he's a good-looking guy. He's got,
very good looking brother.
He's got the linen clothes on. You're trying to like catch a look, and you can see him just kind of like, you know, the jacket almost swing in a non-existent breeze inside. You're just not really able to get a pinpoint on anything, unfortunately. Yeah. Keeping your eyes on him regardless. What's your passive perception, out of curiosity?
14.
14? Okay. Good to know. So, yeah. Just doing your best for that. Nebula, you can see him just kind of pondering over and over and just... I take it this is related to the endeavor that you had me procure these items for?
We believe that the ritual chamber used to sacrifice the town or something is behind this door. And it's locked by magical means, and the only key is with the Rakshasa. We can't get it, but we need to get into that room. This could make all the difference.
When do you need this by?
Before noon tomorrow, for that speech.
Noon tomorrow. Not today. Okay.
I mean, today would be great if you can.
I'd love to get the drop on him, but, you know, if we have to cut it down to the wire, you know, what's a close call between friends?
You can see him just kind of look up the stairs. Let's talk. And he gestures over towards his room, kind of on the eastern side of the house. And
Aha, Philip!
going into the hall, closing the door behind him, kind of gets in. And you see that the rooms, I think, Les, you were the one who went in before, and you used your fog cloud to kind of cover your tracks while you looked around a little bit for stuff. You see the rooms are not meager by any stretch. They're quite nice rooms, but it is 3 to a room. There are 3 beds and trunks and different bits of clothing, all very nicely kept and put away in each of the rooms. So it looks like there's 9 total staff that kind of service the Fowler Manor that stay in at any given point. Philip's bed is very well made. You can see it's very well kept. Sheets tucked in very nicely, pillows fluffed correctly, and he kind of leads you into the room and just takes a seat at the end of his bed and kind of gestures for all of you to just kind of stand up around him and just... You're saving lives, right?
That's right.
How well can you all keep secrets?
I have a great poker face.
No?
I'm not even from here, and I know that doesn't mean anything to you.
Let's just say that I'm not from here either.
I fucking knew it. I I told you.
This isn't something that I can get done today. Do you understand that?
Wait, Philip, did your voice change?
Yeah,
I don't think
it's
his
an
name's
accent
Philip.
he's doing.
Look. I got access to some stuff in Rexentrum. I can get it, and I can bring it to you. But it's not going to be done today. It's going to take too long for me to get there and get back. I'm going to see if there's a way that I can put out a feeler, have somebody deliver it in the next hour or so. But I got to find the place to get it, and I got to find the fucking reason to leave this goddamn house without alerting you know who.
Okay. How can we help?
There's a little bit of a drop spot just outside of town, past where the farms are. You'd be having at a good jog, take 30-40 minutes to be able to get there. It's kind of near the Dusty Boots Tavern. There's a little outhouse and a single tree about 150 feet away from that. One of you guys can get out there. I'm going to see if there's a way for me to get word to one of my contacts. Somebody within the Cobalt Soul. See if I can get him to send me a dispel scroll of some kind. But you gotta understand, you can't say a fucking word of any of this. If he finds a word, even a whisper of the fact that I am not who I say I am, this whole operation is gonna go down in flames.
You can count on us.
And don't tell his niece. I know she doesn't fucking like him, but there's some kind of connection with that batshit crazy patron they got. That's not what I want to see.
So, what do we call you? I assume your name's not really Philip.
No, it is. It's easier to know it with your actual name. That way you don't have to think twice about some kind of false pretense.
Even if it wasn't Philip, it's probably best if we only assume you are Philip.
The red one gets it. But
Lest
instead,
you
I must
aren't
be the
thinking.
douchey, pompous man who simply acquires the items that you desire.
Thank you, Philip.
Don't get me wrong, Les. If you knew him by any other name, part of me thinks in your excitement you may call him said other name.
I told you it was weird. I was weird, right? I was not so.
I'm gonna do what I do best,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna divine sense.
Okay.
Everybody drink!
Let's go.
Haley, just long sip. Divine Sense does
I really
not
need a shot glass. I
ping.
really need a shot glass.
Divine Sense does not ping on anything to do with him. He, from all intents and purposes, he is a human.
Human.
I need you to know though that like when this whole conversation was going down, he was like giving the rundown, and Nebula was just like,
Divine Sense, Divine Sense, Divine Sense, Divine Sense. Just over and over.
yeah, I was just like looking at him like, come on, just fucking be the one.
Show me some.
Be the rock. I fucking dare you. Be him in disguise. I dare you.
No, from what you can tell, he is not the Rakshasa. He is not any entity that would ping on that. He is human through and through. But the accent change, the demeanor change, leaning forward, getting a bit of a hunched stature in comparison to his very upstanding one. He seems to be, best word to describe it, an operative, undercover something of some kind. And given what you know about Zacharias, and actually all of you, I'll get all of you guys to make a history check for me on the name that's the Cobalt Soul.
Oh, this is when I get a natural 19. Great.
I got an unnatural 20.
I got a 14.
14.
History?
Yeah. So, Margot, what was your total?
I got an unnatural 20.
30-20, okay. Yeah, less. History?
22.
22. Nebula?
It's the Cobalt Soul, Shablamo.
16. And Galahad, it was a 14
No,
total?
I got a 6.
Oh, 6. Sorry, 6. Galahad, what was your total?
14.
14? Okay.
12 plus 2.
Yeah, Margot and Les, and actually Galahad as well. You've heard of the name of the Cobalt Soul. Nebula, it was vaguely in your orientation, but it you know, the details like this don't really apply. You're not planning to stick around all that long to get to know the inner workings of local governments, right? But for the other three of you, you know that the Cobalt Soul is essentially a group that tries to recover lost knowledge, expose lies and liars and corruption within the Dwendalian Empire, where you currently are. They seem to be something that is kind of very much set in restoring and maintaining balance, ensuring that there isn't a tip either one way too far towards good or the other way too far towards evil. They kind of sit as arbiters in the middle. You would know that, Galahad, Les, and Margot. Margot and Les a little bit further. They are known to send operatives out to engage with individuals that are on the wrong side of the scales. More common than not, they're sent to essentially determine information so that a prosecution can be leveled against specific individuals or specific organizations or families. Given what you know about Jules, and now what you know about Zacharias and some of the details, it makes perfect sense why this individual is here. It also makes, again, very perfect sense that the guise is something that is not dropped without any real thought put into it. Hence why you've been in town for the better part of a week at this point, right? I think it's been 4 days or 5 days now. And Philip has been the upstanding gentleman.
International super spy!
It's Philip.
But it would make sense for him to be what he says he is.
This is less surprising than I thought it would be.
Look, we've done
When
a
you
lot of
travel
really
with
dumb
Nebula.
things and, like, not checked on some dumb shit, but the Boston accent, Philip, was not what I was expecting.
I thought, you know, here's me as an ignorant Australian. I thought that was a New York accent. I'm just, whatever it
Boston's
is.
a little bit easier to put on.
Boston.
It's
Boston.
It's
Hey, I'm
Boston.
walking here.
Yeah,
I'm walking here, Bally.
Hey, I'm casting here.
Did that car park itself? Yeah. Yeah, the Boston
Where's
accent.
that fucking cat?
Where's that fucking cat? So, with him kind of reassuming his demeanor, you can see the shoulders kind of go back and the body language sits up a little bit better. Luna. You see him kind of revert back to the version of Philip that you had seen before, and the accent comes back in. So, with that information in hand, I need to step out for a minute. I will find a time to do that in the next little while to ensure that I don't arouse any suspicion. Once that's done, I'll then be able to send word for some supplies to be delivered. These were readily available. Zacharias is somebody who's not exactly far away from materials that would allow him to gain entrance into places. But for things like spell scrolls and of that type, he is a little more particular and definitely requires payment. In my case, my payment can be all of you not saying a word of this conversation. Do you understand?
Margot looks at Les.
I also look at Les.
We all just stare at Les.
What?
You've got a little something on your...
Single piece of salmon roe that you just pull off the side of your mouth.
It's off. It's good job.
Yeah.
If the situation was not as dire as it was, I would be in this guise for the rest of the days. But I would rather not allow several dozen, if not more, people to die innocents within the city under my watch. So, head out to the tree. Be there in an hour and a half, perhaps 2 hours. There will be an individual that appears for but an instant. I will do my best to let them know that someone will be waiting. Will it be all of you or just one of you?
I can do it if you want.
Whatever's easiest, I guess.
I mean, it's kind of hard to miss a giant warforged. It's kind of like putting a blaring red light on somebody. I've seen Galahad produce blaring light. It's...
But at the same time...
Probably best if we go as a group then.
Yes. I was going to say so conspicuous that you're inconspicuous and you don't draw attention is something that does happen from time to time, but whether it's...
yes, nothing but a Triton, a Changeling, a Warforged, a Tiefling, and a Dragonborn walk into a bar.
And do what?
Metaphors. Less metaphors. Inconspicuous.
Oh, I thought we were going somewhere. Never mind.
No, we're not actually going to the bar. We're going to go do a thing.
Oh, okay.
I could just go out to that place now and just power down for a little while, solve that problem.
I mean, I suppose we do need our rest. Thoughts?
Well, we know how Galahad rests, so...
Never.
No, I do. It's weird.
Selective resting.
I do. It's weird.
Careful, if you startle him, he'll take a screenshot.
That's not how that works. I think.
Sorry, out of character. Yeah, I think if Galahad goes and sentries up over there, that we can meet him the next day. That does leave you kind of vulnerable, though, all out there by yourself. I can take it.
It's only going to be like an hour and a half, 2 hours at most.
All right.
Shouldn't be a problem.
I think that's fine. It's a solid way to start.
We're starting to run out of time. Just to clarify, are you looking for a spell scroll of knock or of dispel?
Well,
Which one would be better suited to opening a definitely magical door?
Personally, getting rid of an enchantment is better than opening it once. What
dispel it is.
What level would you like the spell to be at?
Is there like a check we can make to sort of figure out?
Yeah,
how?
so what I'll do is I'll have the casters, Margot, Galahad, and Nebula. I'll let you guys, and actually I'll roll for Jules as well. Oh no, because she's not there. Never mind. So just the three of you. I'll get you guys to make an Arcana check for me.
Arcana!
To see if you can
Dope.
get it at your best guess.
At my best guess,
What you think?
it's a 19.
19.
19! I got a 19
Oh!
Nice.
Got a 17.
17. Okay. All three of you, based on the enchantments that had hit you from the door, the knowledge that some of the spells that you would cast, second level spells, completely unaffecting the Rakshasa, you would imagine that you would probably need a fifth, maybe a sixth level dispel magic spell to be able to get through this door.
What do you think? Sixth around that, maybe?
Yep. I would, healthy guess, yeah.
Healthy guess, sixth level. I know that's probably pretty big, but
No, it's fine.
Stores.
I'll be able to accommodate that quite easily. It was more so if it was anything above 8th, then we would be in a little bit of trouble.
that's terrifying.
But I'll do what I can. Like I said, hour and a half. It'll probably take you at least 40 minutes just to get there, so you better hurry up, big man. But for now, the rest of us, we should go out and begin to prepare for dinner.
Understood. Gonna
And he shuffles out.
I'll make
to
my
the
way
door.
now. Does anyone need me for anything prior? Any high shelves or anything?
I think we're good.
Be
I'm gonna
safe.
clank off.
And how far of a distance is this going to be?
To where the tree is, it's about another 150 feet past where the Dusty Boots Tavern was. That little outhouse that Phelan subverted you guys and ran back to town in. So it'd be ballpark about a mile or so, maybe just shy of that, maybe like
Cool.
3/4 of a mile.
I'm going to send Galaxy with him.
Okay.
And I
Yeah.
telepathically say, and I can telepathically communicate with Galaxy up to a mile.
Yes, you can. So he's going to be within that
Awesome.
range. Beautiful. So Galaxy
I give him
along
a
with
pat on the
Galahad.
way.
All right, so the two of you guys start to make your way out, and at a decent brisk pace, not enough to draw attention to yourselves or anything. What is your passive stealth? Just 10 plus your stealth modifier.
I've got a feeling that it's 10. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right.
No dex.
So are you trying to not be seen, or are you just kind of making your way there at a decent pace? How is it you're getting to where this is?
I feel like as a 8-9 foot tall metal man, any attempt at stealth will just be even more suspicious. I'm just going to briskly walk with a purpose.
Okay, sounds good. And you do see, obviously, as you're kind of used to by this point, regardless of what city you go to, you draw attention. But you've been around a little bit. You've met a couple of the people. You've had some interaction with some of the kids earlier today, specifically, and they were able to talk to you and kind of chat and, climb up onto your armor and everything like that. So, you get a couple of waves here and there, a few smiles from people, but nobody seems to be thinking ill towards you in any way or paying particular attention to you. You just start to make your way towards the center of town. Go and make a perception check for me.
No, I have 2 dice in my hands. Yep.
Nebula, you can make one for Galaxy as well.
Perception.
Perception check.
Yeah.
15.
15, okay.
And what is the add on perception usually?
He's a blink dog, so I think it's just plus his wisdom.
Okay.
So blink
He
dog
rolled
wisdom is plus 1.
And plus 1, so
Oh,
14.
sorry, no, he actually has a perception skill, so it's plus 3.
Oh, cool. Is it on hearing or smell?
It is.
If not, it's fine, but he just has advantage on this.
Hearing or smell, but this one would actually be specifically on sight.
Okay, so it's just that,
So 16?
Plus 3, so 16.
16, okay. 2 of you making your way through town. You get a good ways outside of the house. Start to make your way closer towards the center area of town where a lot of the booths were starting to be assembled. One of the things that you do kind of notice, and you just, a bit of a sigh of relief, you do see that a lot of the booths that were being assembled and had already been assembled and were being set up are in the process of being moved. It seems that whatever Nebula did, hey, we got a lance.
Bum, bada, bum, 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 bum.
Hi.
Hello there.
Oh, hang on. I gotta fix this. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 sec.
It's all good. It's all good by me. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
We can hear you, but we can't see you. But we will see you soon.
Yes. Okay, cool.
Cool. So what you've missed is absolutely nothing. Nothing happened. There's no secrets. Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
All good.
Absolutely.
Philip is an upstanding gentleman. Philip is an upstanding
I know
gentleman.
you're bullshitting me. You can't get this past me. I know that you're lying to me right now.
No,
I know what you're
I'm not
talking
even-
about.
Lance, it's
I'm not
okay.
even-
Lance, you should just forget about it.
It's okay.
I'm not even there.
Philip is just a very upstanding gentleman, and everybody likes him, and he's fine.
Yeah.
Absolutely no shady business going on behind the scenes
Not at
whatsoever. No, let's just say this conversation is just actual fireworks.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll catch you up. All right, and Jules, there we go. Lance is on stream. Everybody say hi.
Yeah.
Yay! It's good to have you back. So, Galhead, you and Galaxy starting to make your way across the town, leaving the Fowler estate. You don't really draw too much attention. Like I said, a little bit here and there, people noticing you, a couple of waves, a couple of smiles, and so on. But you kind of taking a look around, you do notice that a lot of the booths seem to be being packed up. Nebula's story of what had happened, ensuring that the Starosta actually started packing things up and moving them towards the outskirts of town does seem to be happening. So that's at least a good sign that there's probably going to be quite a few less people in the town square the following day. As you start to make your way past all of this, the guard presence is high. In comparison to what you had seen earlier in the day, again, likely due to the conversation that Nebula, as Zacharias, had with the Starosta, that there's a lot more security. You're drawing a little bit of attention, and you notice that after a little bit of time, there are a couple of guards that aren't particularly following you, but they do seem to be keeping their eye on you as you're kind of making your way through the town.
Probably still used to that as well, honestly.
Yeah, and as you kind of make your way towards the outside, they kind of just watch you get towards the outside of the city limits where the farming community starts, and as you start to make your way further out into the farming community, the tail drops off, and you seem that nobody seems to be following you at this point. But at least while you were walking through the city, you did notice that you seem to be being observed. We'll put it that way. Okay? But a little bit of time goes by, and you do eventually make your way out towards that outhouse. You see that there is a single solitary tree off in the distance, about 150, 200 feet away. And you kind of push your way over towards that and sit down next to it. And at this point, it's a waiting game. A little bit of time passes. All of you inside having dinner. Zacharias doesn't descend from his chamber. He just has a little bit of food brought up to him, and Philip comes back down and sits again in his linen suit and starts tucking into a bit of dinner with the rest of you. Brief conversations about what to expect for tomorrow, situations, and then Galahad, as you're kind of resting there a little bit and just finishing off your short rest, the sun is warm, metal's starting to heat a little bit, and then you just hear a bit of an odd sound very, very close to you. And you kind of turn to your right and you see that there is an individual standing very short, about just over 3 feet, 3'1" maybe, tiny little halfling woman, long blue and white robes. You see a series of insignias. Specifically, it's a circle with kind of a triangle inside it, with each of the points of the triangle where they connect to the exterior of the circle being larger dots. A couple of runic writings on the inside, and with the roll that you had made earlier for knowing who the Cobalt Soul is, you recognize this as a Cobalt Soul insignia. But it's a very small one, and the individual almost seems to be kind of semi-translucent, like they're not fully there, as they kind of look up to you very, very highly and just reach a hand up as high as they can. It's maybe 4 feet 2, and you kind of lean over and grab it and just... So we'd heard that you needed this, whatever the situation is.
Yes, it's very essential to saving the town.
Yeah, the town is one thing, Fowler's another. Don't fuck it up.
Understood.
She vanishes back into the tree.
What?
But she vanishes back into the tree. That was something you hadn't noticed, is that the bark on the tree had split and formed almost a glowing portal that you were sitting up against, as that she just steps back into the tree and then vanishes from sight, and it reforms in the tree itself as back where it normally stood. As you now hold a spell scroll that you take a look at, and with your spells, I don't believe you have access to it, but it looks very similar to the ones that you had seen Zacharias give you guys for the protection spells.
Tuck it into my coat, start walking back into town.
All right. A little bit of time transpires, and you can see at this point the day is definitely starting to get on. It's closing in on evening. Sun is starting to set a little bit. Purples and pinks and oranges in the sky really starting to deepen their hues. And the vast majority, if not all, by this point, of the market stalls and all of the people who have been set up in the town have completely vacated the area. The central area of town is a bit of a dead zone. A couple of people working here and there, finishing up a small stage that it looks like they are restoring. It seems to be a relic that's definitely been used for quite a while. You had seen it earlier that there was a large amphitheater-style stage, and they seem to just be repainting it a little bit, these bright golds and oranges, in preparation, you would imagine, for Theonor's speech the following day. But beyond that, a lot of the regular townsfolk have all scuttled off to their homes. Last bits of business are being done for the day, and eventually you make your way back towards the Fowler Manor. Again, similar escort to what you had seen before, keeping a distance, not engaging you in any way or really following you per se, just kind of keeping an eye, given the fact of who you are and the situation that's arising in the city. They're just kind of getting an idea of what it is you're doing here. But you make it back to the Fowler Manor without any issue. Philip greets you at the door and just kind of nods at you, and then pulls you inside and into the dining hall where the rest of the group is fully lounging in their chairs, bellies full, pants undone a little bit to accommodate the amazing food that had been whipped up, and all kinds of stuffed baked pork tenderloin full of fresh goat's cheese and spinach with little sun-dried tomato risotto on the side. Just fantastic food. Can you tell I've been cooking more lately?
I haven't eaten after work yet.
But with that, belly's full, spell scroll acquired, you pass it over, and Jules sitting at the table looking a little bit confused as to where Galahad had been, why he was coming back. But the situation being what it is, you have the evening to yourselves, and you have a spell scroll of Dispel Magic. And with that, we're going to take a quick little break. This one's going to be very short. We're talking 5-10 minutes.
I can get food!
We're going to let you get a little bit of food and let you guys try to figure out what your next course of action is going to be. And we'll come back and we're going to fill Jules in fill Lance in on exactly what had transpired.
I knew it! I knew it all along!
You called it. It's I've played too much D&D with you, Kevin. You know me.
No, I was just like hearing this butler spout out so much knowledge about arcane wares and like spells and like where to get bomb materials and not even bat a fucking eye.
And Lance is so confused. I love it. Awesome. All right, so we're going to be back. Artwork. Enjoy the artwork, guys. All the fantastic artists that have been on the stream. 5-10 minutes at most. We're going to be back before the top of the hour. I promise you that. We'll see you soon. And we're back. Thank you, everybody, for sticking with us through our break. We are fed. We are, I was about to say drunk. Nope, we are fed. And we are drinks in hand, ready to get back to this one. We're going to dive right back in. So, with the spell scroll being delivered by Galahad, a 6th level dispel magic that Jules has no idea about, because nobody having mentioned it to them quite yet.
Well, we're at the dinner table. We can talk about it.
You are at the dinner table currently with Philip there. The last couple of scraps of food are being cleared away. Little bits of ale still being consumed, and little noshes of little pastries and after dinner mints being brought out. But for the most part, the room is yours. The help seems to be dispersing a little bit, going back to clean in the kitchens, and you hear the banging and clanging of pots and pans and heavy scrubbing sounds of dishwater. So you've got the 5 of you in the room with Philip. What would you like to do?
I want to look at his fucking one more time. I need to see. Just want to see if there's any tattoos or anything suspect about his person.
Okay, go ahead and make a...
I will also.
Yeah. So are you trying to do this secretly, or are you just trying to like ask him? Just like show
Secretly.
Me? Secretly? Okay. So I'll get you guys.
And then if it fails, I will say, "Show me."
Gotcha. Okay, so go ahead and make a perception or investigation check, Nebula and less.
Oh, this is not gonna work. Natural 18, finally.
You get nothing.
Nothing. Good day, sir.
That's an 11.
11. Okay.
22 for me.
22.
I think it's been bugging Les, and Nebula just kind of like had the thought to look at him, but Les is like, I want to fucking know.
So you, with your like cursory glance, Nebula, you kind of look over a little bit. Wait a second, no, that's stupid. He wouldn't have tattoos. If he did, Zacharias would see them. Les, you are intent. He has tattoos. You know he has tattoos. You're like literally like getting up and stretching and looking down the back of his shirt and like looking under his armpits, like trying to find an angle. You can't find a fucking thing, and it's driving you crazy. But Nebula, you kind of realize like if he had a tattoo, Zacharias would have seen it, and there's no fucking way he would have employed this guy.
Well, not visible. I mean, like under the suit, maybe.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Philip, pick your clothes off.
No, it's the same thing. But Nebula, I'll say that you would catch on, and you, if you would like to, would be able to kind of let Les know that wouldn't really make sense for him to have a marking of any kind, lest it be seen.
Yeah. And I'll just kind of over to Les. I just kind of shake my head no.
But like maybe there's like a little like something like, I don't know, maybe like
I just lead in and I'm like, you remember how he could see through my camouflage?
I mean, yes.
I have a feeling he can see through a shirt.
I just imagine that Nebula and Les Paul are sitting there, and Philip's in the middle. And they're just looking around.
Yes.
Philip's just like,
just looking for like just curious. It's fine.
And I lean forward and I go, oh, and Jules. I don't think we got to tell you. Dear Philip here has an extraordinary secret.
Extraordinary.
He is
And you see his eyes just go wide.
He is fantastic at making pies.
Jules has been purposefully ignoring the two of your bullshit this whole like dinner, and is just like, I'm just gonna eat my food. I'm just gonna fucking focus on my food. And then you call her name, and she's just like, okay, Nebula. Philip, when you get the chance, I'd love to try some of your pies, but for now, I'm going to finish this meal, and just goes back to eating.
And you can see that,
he's like a regular old pie spy over here.
His pies are full of
Oh my
lies.
god. Is belligerently ignoring you.
And the best part is that like you've set up this preface as that's what people would expect. So it's like it's just not even out of the ordinary. Like, Jules, you don't even blink twice. You don't think about it. You're just like, fucking Nebula, shut up. And you just go back to your food, despite it actually being a thing.
And Nebula 100% knows that that's how people will usually take him.
Yeah.
So he just makes eye contact with Philip. Yeah, I cannot wait to try those.
At some point, Philip has to take a shower, and I'm gonna spy on him. And I just want to see this like body tattoo, Eastern Promised, like Cobalt Soul map all over him.
Okay.
So, plan of action.
That's a crime.
That's called voyeurism, Les.
I lean over to Les and I go,
I love that ship. I sailed on it many, many times.
I lean over to Les and I go, is it bugging you that much?
I just feel like there's just there'd be some sort of identifying marker of some kind, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, all right, here. Let's try this. And I cast Detect Magic.
Okay. So, casting Detect Magic, you look around the room and you see a couple of instances where magic glows. The gem in Galahad's chest. You see a little bit around Jules' eyes. You see a couple of the items that you and your allies have been wearing, using, weapons, armor, things like that. Looking at Philip, not a trace of magic on him.
Alright.
And I lean
Philip,
over.
do you have
and
any
I-
tattoos?
Do you actually ask him? Yeah, okay. And he just kind of looks back and, no, tattoos I find quite unsightly, and unfortunately, it's not something that I would ever mark myself on my own body with.
Okay.
Alright.
It's that easy, guys. It's that easy.
And so now that that's been done,
You can see at this
Okay.
point Philip is standing up and just, I believe I'm going to take my leave for the evening, check on Master Fowler, and then prepare myself. It is an early start tomorrow, rise at dawn, out of the house and into the city itself. So be sure to get a good rest this evening, all of you. And I'll see you in the
Thank
morning.
you.
Thank you. Good night, Philip.
Good night, Master. And steps out.
Okay. Is it just us now in the dining room?
Just the five of you, the cleaning staff, you kind of hear the pots and pans banging, starting to slow, and the last of the staff kind of comes out, and they come over and just, is there anything else we can get for you tonight? No? Okay, all right, perfect. And they'll start to make their way out, and you hear them just kind of pulling out bits of cloth and starting to wipe down some of the tables outside, but it appears to just be the five of you in the room.
Okay, I've got the scroll.
Jules just glances
Excellent.
at Galahad, confused, and then glances away and turns to Nebula and Les and is like, can we please not pester Philip so much? He's just trying to do his job. I can't even say what
No, yeah, he's great at his job. Like, if I didn't know any better, I mean, I'd say he just blends right in. You know, he's
The jack
fantastic.
of all trades, that one.
He
the man
really
of many
is.
faces, Philip is.
Yeah, pie baker, floor cleaner,
Creator
clothing
of
tailor.
Weaver of fine tales.
Yes. A tailor, if you will.
I can't believe he got us those explosive components so quickly.
Yeah, did you know, Jules, that your butler friend here is quite the pyromaniac?
Yeah, he's very versatile. It makes sense though. Ooh, this is a player question.
Yeah.
Jules, I remember, heard a third or a fourth voice that she had never heard before. But
Oh, that.
did Nebula hear that? Because Nebula talked to Jules about, like, I can get you out of here if you so choose. Does Nebula know about that?
No.
Okay.
No.
Jules was the only person who heard that fourth voice, and even she doesn't really know what it means or who it is.
But we know, at least Nebula knows about some of them, right? Or whatever it is. I forget what Nebula knows, because that determines how cautious he's about to be in this next 5 seconds.
I don't think, and this is the thing is, obviously, it's been a minute. We're going to have to think about this. To my knowledge, I don't think that there had been any explanation beyond that Jules's patron is a lineage
An accumulation
of individuals. I don't think that there was ever any names discussed or that. I think that you had mentioned that you talked to a couple of people, but there was never a definitive number put on it or anything. That I remember you mentioning before. But that would be about the extent of it. No names, no definitive number, definitely no idea of the fourth voice. Does that sound about right, Lance?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jules has not gotten into like the specifics.
Yeah. No specifics, but like the power comes from essentially the ancestry, and that a couple of people help with her current abilities.
She's explained that it's a warlock pact to Nebula specifically, but it's a family warlock pact that they all make, and that's why Zacharias is OP.
Okay.
I think that's about it.
Okay.
Could be incorrect though.
So then, Nebula is going to say this with the knowledge that he has, simply because Philip went out of his way to say not to tell Jules because of the pact. Like, Philip knew. And so...
Philip knew some details. Definitely more than what you knew.
Yeah, so what Nebula is going to say is... So, we came across an individual who seems to be quite excited to help us out and about while we were perusing the town earlier. And we were able to call upon them in order to acquire something that might allow us to get inside that door downstairs.
Who?
It's probably best we don't name names in a space so filled with ears, lest someone like Philip or any of the staff here hear us.
Very well then.
It's me, I'm the secret dealer.
But with that in mind, we've established we have some explosives we've fashioned with the help of Gilda in order to perhaps dissuade audiences from gathering tomorrow. But prior to that, with that spell, we might be able to access the lower level door and see what's behind door number 3.
And what spell is it exactly? And she kind of holds her hand out, expectantly to Galahad for him to hand her the scroll so she can examine it.
And I just motion.
Here. It's to
Okay.
dispel magic.
theoretically, it should be powerful enough to remove whatever is on the door.
Can I make an Arcana check on this Jordy?
On the scroll?
Yeah,
Yeah, go for it.
just to make sure it's legit. That's 5 plus 7,
5 plus 7.
whatever that number is.
So
12.
the interesting thing here is you've seen spell scrolls, obviously the ones that Zacharias gave you guys before. Looking at this one, it looks similar. Dispel Magic, I believe, is a warlock spell. It's so it's something where like the check is more to look at the authenticity and like the nature of it. But looking at the scroll, the way that the scrolls work is that as you unfurl it, the words kind of are jumbled. You aren't really able to read it to begin with, and then they kind of shift into place, and you're able to read it. That looks like anything you've seen before. The authenticity, the power level of it, you're not 100% sure. With a 7, there isn't really any way to give you more than that, but you at least know that the scroll is one that would cast the spell Dispel Magic. That's about it.
Okay. Interesting. And Jules will hand it back to Galahad.
Sorry, I miss Motor Ninja Cat because Nebula has Divine Sus. I miss our meme lord. Thank you, Motor Ninja Cat, for coming back. We appreciate you. Anyway, sorry. So, spell scroll passed over. Nebula, you have it again.
Galahad.
Oh, sorry, Galahad, you have it again.
Bruh. Who's going to cast this? Because pretty much all the casters know how to. Who's got that?
Well, I've...
Should we roll a d4 to determine which one rolls it?
What is the... So we're all able to cast it, but what was the check that we'll have to make, Jordy?
So it's a spellcasting ability check. So d20 plus your proficiency plus your spellcasting mod, whatever that is, and your DC is 16. You can use inspiration. You can use spells like enhance ability. Those are all going to work, and guidance as well. So it's kind of up to you guys internally to figure out who's going to be rolling that, and then who's going to be assisting and in what ways.
As a paladin of the Oath of Glory, I do happen to always have enhance ability pre-prepared.
Oh.
There you go. So as long as you've got a spell slot available, which I believe you... Well, you might. I'm not sure. Do you have a spell slot available for that?
I have... I mean, assuming we don't long rest in the interim, I would have one.
Okay.
I have one single second level spell slot and 3 first level spell slots.
Okay.
Haha, I've got all my spell slots.
I have
2 of them.
one.
What are spell slots?
Yeah, I've got one left, so it honestly might be best for us to rest. But that's also what Nebula has stated. As far as numbers, I would have on an ability check, I have a +4 for spells, and then because that's my charisma, and then with proficiency of 3, that'd be a +7.
Nice. I've only got +6, but I got that enhance ability, so I could give you that, you know.
Well, I got a +8. Fucking losers.
Oh, well,
Hell yeah!
What does Margot
Hell
have?
yeah.
and you know what? Casting through a scroll means you don't use one of your, you wouldn't use 50% of your spells on that one cast.
You know.
What does Margot have?
This is great.
Honestly, I don't think I want to read the scroll. I don't feel like I honestly want to see Galahad do it. I want to see Galahad do it.
Could I enhance ability myself and then cast it? Would that work?
Concentration.
Yeah, because the spell on the scroll is not a concentration spell. It's an instantaneous, so theoretically you could. This is up to you guys is to determine who's going to be casting it, what the highest chance of success is, or if somebody just wants to do it. I'm the one who's doing it.
I mean, with advantage, I'm happy for anyone.
That's the thing.
But-
Well, you were also given inspiration in chat.
Everybody
Me?
has inspiration.
Everyone was given inspiration.
Yeah.
I don't have it because I used it on the bomb making check.
Yeah.
So you should definitely let Jules with a +8 and inspiration give it a go with advantage, or the safest bet.
But this also means explaining.
For the
I'm not
higher
gonna say
chance,
anything.
Oh, no,
for
we
the
can
higher
do
chance
that.
of success.
Yeah.
Jules didn't suffer through years of magical training not to cast this role.
Seriously, this is where we draw the line, is telling Jules a little bit of information that would give us a better chance of succeeding. This is where we draw the line.
Sorry,
No,
I totally just blanked. Never mind. Yeah, you've already shown Jules the scroll, so it's all good.
Meanwhile, Les Paul in the corner.
Whoa.
So I have just informed. I've just been informed by the chat in between memes about Galahad twerking that I do have inspiration again. That's a thing. But again, you know, whoever. I feel pretty confident that Jules with that spicy +8 plus advantage plus inspiration is probably a safe bet.
Yeah, probably a safe bet.
Like, what's that? A minimum of +9, so you'd have to roll a 5 or higher with advantage.
7.
7. Oh.
Oh, it's almost like Jules has the. Wow.
What'd you say, Margo?
It's almost as if Jules is the one person foretold to actually cast a spell.
It's like a story arc was written for her.
Wow, it's almost like this whole place was to give Jules some exposition.
Well, I think it's probably best if we get a good night's rest and take off at first light, perhaps before anyone else. On our way, we might be able to drop off a few items, and we should probably bring Gilda along. In the event we don't come up from downstairs, someone should scare off everyone, and they are her mechanisms.
Why is chat so obsessed with how thick my ass is? I don't understand.
Call me thick.
You walked off the screen once.
No, I mean Galahad, but like, it is what it is.
They're about it.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, jeez. Kev.
Well,
It's not Kev, it's me.
Oh.
Anyway, so
Right.
with the plan being what it is, to rest for the evening, regain hit points, regain spell slots, and set out first thing in the morning before dawn.
Yep.
Sure.
Alrighty. So all of you tucking in the last couple of morsels of food, last little bits of wine, getting yourselves a little bit loose. Nerves are there for sure. And last encounter being what it was, a little almost too easy, forcing the Rakshasa to leave. You all settle in for the evening. Jules.
Oh, okay.
Here we go.
What are your current hit points? Do you still have that from when we played before?
Yeah, I had 31. I just marked it off.
31? Okay.
Gilda's gonna.
Yeah.
And what's your total? 36?
41 is
40?
my total.
Okay, awesome. You, having had that interaction with the Rakshasa and the claw attack that it came across and struck into your arm, the attack is, still scabbed over a little. You haven't cast any healing magic or anything like that to heal yourself back up. It wasn't too bad of a cut. You turn in for the evening, and your eyes close, and you're back in the room with the Rakshasa. But your allies aren't there. You're seated across the table as it just kind of reaches out, and then you see the massive furry backwards paw kind of reaching out, the claws going backwards down towards your hand, and you instinctively go to rip your hand away, and you feel a clink, tink, tink, and your hands are just chained to the table. And then you feel the claw kind of pressing into the upper parts of your arm and just single cut all the way down from the inside crook of where your elbow is, down the front of your arm and around the back, and then just pulling it away. Just a little one, not long, but just an individual single little cut. And then another, and you try to look around the room and slam your hands on the table and start yelling and anything to try and wake yourself up, and you are unable to wake yourself.
Can I hellish rebuke?
You go to attempt to reach into them, tap into the magical essence within your body, and that connection does not exist. There is...
May I roll an insight to see if this is a dream?
Roll an insight check.
Okay, cool.
How you gonna roll an insight check with no dice?
It is a 14 plus 2, 16.
16.
Whoop.
Oh, we lost
Yeah.
Tails gone.
Oh shit.
This is a dream. Everyone's disappearing.
You start slamming your hands onto the table, your elbows, your legs kicking, biting into your tongue, trying to do anything to try and wake yourself up from the dream. Everything about this feels real. It feels as if it's happening. And one cut becomes 5, 10, 50, 100, 1,000. Over the next several hours, over the entirety of your long rest, you gain no benefits from your long rest. You do not regain hit points. You do not regain hit dice. You do not regain spell slots. You are as you were the night before, and you are now at the point of exhaustion.
Fuck! Okay.
This is because Jules was the only one who got fucking hit by the Rakshasa.
Sick. Alright.
And you finally do awake in a fit the following morning, and you just instinctively look at your arms and across your shoulders and your face, and there's no blood. There's the single scar that is, well, not scar, but the cut that's mostly scabbed over at this point. It wasn't a bad one. It wasn't very deep. It wasn't even really that painful at the time. But something about that evening, you were not able to find any solace in sleep.
Yeah, Jules is gonna get up and, like, compose herself and then go to Margot's room, knock on her door.
And it is well before dawn. You see just the bare, faint peekings of light starting to come over the horizon very early in the morning. As Margot, you hear a light knock at your door.
I crawl out of bed, hesitantly ready to murder whoever decided to wake me up this early. And I open the door. But I'm not happy that I opened the door, but I opened the door.
And you see Jules with a few extra bags under her eyes, standing in the doorway.
You look like shit. Why early? Why so early?
Jules will slip past you into your room.
Okay, come in. And I close the door.
And you see Gilda curled up on the bed, just kind of in a mass of pillows, snoring away.
Okay. Jules will open up Awakened Mind to Margot and say, I don't want to wake Gilda, but I haven't gotten any sleep because I've been having nightmare of the Rakshasa slowly, cut by cut, cutting every inch of my skin open. And yep. No.
Damn. Pleasant to say the least.
To say the least, yes.
I motion towards my bed, like the sleeping Gilda, like perhaps a different scenery?
Maybe.
I tuck Jules in. I fluff the pillow.
Thank you. Yeah, Jules will lie down and attempt to go back to sleep.
At this point, the entirety of your long rest is completed. It's been 8 hours. It is the morning. You guys are needing to get on your way and get going. But you gain no benefit from the long rest itself. And you gain a point of exhaustion.
Let
me check exhaustion stats.
I wipe my face.
So the first one is easy. Disadvantage on ability checks, which includes spell casting ability checks.
Oh, fuck this.
No.
I hate exhaustion, Jordy. I hate exhaustion, Jordy. I hate it.
Sorry, Margot, go ahead.
I feel bad. I feel like as soon as I allow Jules to like pass out in my bed, some godforsaken rooster crows and just like morning traffic, like there's a car alarm going off.
Coffee machine's not working properly.
Yeah, there's like the water pipes are just really rattling.
So, Jules, you lay down, like, as Margot said, maybe 5 minutes of sleep, if that, and then you just kind of bolt upright again, and again, you're just kind of looking at your arms. And the interesting thing is that even in that 5 minutes, you slipped back into that exact same dream. Again, chained to the table, your arms no longer cut, just the one singular one that you had sustained the day before. But then the Rakshasa reaches out and just begins the process over and over again.
Yeah, Jules just bolts straight upright. Shakes her head. Nope, that's not going to do.
I look at Jules and I say, well, sadly, I think we've run out of time. And I look at like the window with the sun peeking in.
Well, we might as well get an early start to the day.
You might want to consider a few extra cups of coffee.
Consider it done. I'll meet you all out there, and Jules will just leave Margot's room and go and drink several gallons of coffee.
Philip, double espresso with a bottle of vodka.
I feel like Margot is the type of character that would like have a night robe that says "I murdered my 5th husband" with like the fur trim. Like that's Margot, and she just wakes the door up and she looks like shit, but she's in that fluffy ass like boa robe.
You take some cucumber pieces off your eyes.
I'm like Yzma from Emperor's New Groove. I'm like, what?
Yeah, look, bad dream.
I had a
Squeak,
not
squeaker,
good dream
squeaking.
last night.
Squeak it.
Squeak, squeakity, squeaking.
Again.
As all of you start to wake up very early in the morning, making sure that you're on your way before sunrise, you instinctively make your way into the dining hall and see no staff. Everybody's still dead asleep, well before sunrise. But you make your way into the kitchen and you kind of find one of the pantry shelves and raid a little bit
You
of
find
food.
Jules in the pantry just taking fistfuls of shredded cheese and shoving it in her mouth.
This is my feel better food. So with that, you kind of see Jules in there.
A Red Bull?
3 cups of coffee, a Red Bull, and handfuls of cheese. Let's go.
And a dream.
It's going to speed you up and slow you down at the same time.
Jules gets angry when she's tired. Good luck.
I'm Craig.
So
Don't talk to me until I've had my 3 mornings worth of coffee.
I need 7 mimosas.
So
Don't talk to me until we kill this Rakshasa.
with the 5
Gonna make
of
a
you
fur pelt out of this bitch.
awake, prepped, beginning to head out, front door open, the town itself.
I feel like awake is subjective.
Waking up, we'll say. But the town itself surprisingly buzzing. And then remembering that the celebrations begin at dawn, you realize why. But you were able to make it out in advance of dawn. We'll say that with the little bit of time spent between Jules and Margot, you've got about 45 minutes to an hour at most before dawn breaks. So what is it you guys are looking to do?
Execute Order 66.
Will be
Okay,
done,
so
my lord.
kill the Starosta.
R.I.P. that.
Galahad. So,
No, we're going to execute our smart little dispel plan.
Yep.
After Galahad, there's too many of them. What are we going to do?
So, going to execute the plan. How are you going about doing that? Where are you going into the underground tunnels? What's going on?
Well, the only way we know to get inside of there is either through the cave that we wrapped around before, or
The house.
the house, the shortcut.
So
But there may be people there, and there may be people running around.
So there's the 3 entrances you guys know of. There's the one that's kind of a couple hundred or like 300 or so feet away from the Fowler Manor, that you would have to follow through the underground tunnels to get through, where you fought the Hellhounds and everything. Or there is the
Fealties' hut.
yeah, Fealties is no, what's his name? Tobias's home, the Watchmaster's house, which you guys had destroyed and set the door up against the wall. And then the third one was the one way outside of town that you knew was a long walk back.
Yeah. I say we just go for the house. Fuck it.
Let's just go to the entrance near the manor, shall we? Make things easy.
I mean, that's also an option.
We know that the only ones that are monitoring that is likely my uncle, so that'll be the stealthiest option that we have.
But will it be the longest option? Don't we have a time ticking away at this juncture? Trying to get there before noon? Yes, what time is it, Shorty?
At this point, dawn is at about 6:15 or so. At this point, it's about 5:30 a.m.
Do we have a relative idea of how long it would take to get from the house, the manor entrance, to...
It's about the same amount of time either way, because the manor entrance, all you're doing is you're just taking the underground path to get there. The one through the house, you're going to the house and then going down. The difference is that the house, you descend down the ladder and you're already in that chamber with the 4 braziers and the 4 locked doors. If you go in through the manor entrance, the more stealthy one, there's an extra door that you have to go through to get to that.
And we don't have Phelan to unlock it currently.
Correct.
Or do we? No, we don't have.
You don't have Phelan.
He's right here. He's in my pocket.
He's here, guys.
He's here, I swear.
He even has a little mini charcuterie board.
Actually, sorry, because I'm not playing 3 characters, technically speaking, you would actually have Phelan with you today.
Let's go!
Yeah, because I'm only playing the DM as 1 character, so you would actually have access to Phelan if you wanted to bring him with you.
Can the DM unlock the door? Is that a character we have access to?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
you guys also haven't
the
tried
DM.
the doors since the Rakshasa teleported. That's the other side of it, right? You were all upstairs, he teleported out, and you all just left. You don't know what's down there.
We could give it a crack, you know?
Yeah, let's give it a go.
Yeah.
Let's use the path. Let's use the path next to the house and just make our way.
Right there. Yeah.
Path next to the Fowler Manor, or the one through the Rakshasa's house?
The Fowler Manor.
Fowler Manor.
Okay,
The manor!
I
I feel like the
In a
house,
manner of
probably.
speaking.
Alrighty. So,
The
you guys
manor in the middle.
making your way a little bit south towards that outcropping of foliage, a couple of trees that are covering off the entrance into the underground tunnels. You kind of reach down and you go to tug on the latch to lift it up, and it doesn't lift.
Well, son of a bitch.
You know you're in the right place, but there seems to be something either locking it from the underside or potentially caved in. You're not sure.
Can I try to wrench it off its hinges?
Make a strength check for me.
I will help him.
Boom!
At
Helping
advantage.
me?
At advantage.
It's worse. It's okay.
Call in the beefy boys.
No, it's okay because it is 22.
22 is the DC.
Hey!
So with that, you kind of reaching down, you give it a hearty tug, and you guys, you know this is the entrance.
Hardy.
And then you just, and like
It's a
less
kettlebell
reaching
technique.
down, and like less doing the awkward Patrick Swayze ghost reaching around behind you and like pulling your hands up in the air from behind. Your armor plates like lock into place and just kind of like lock the back of your shoulders, and just and you hear a heavy snapping sound as a wooden latch that had been pulled over to lock it from the underside is broken. And you lift it open, and you see that the tunnel itself is still fully intact. The walls are still in place, but some kind of latch had been pulled over to lock it from the underside.
None of that shit here, thank you.
So,
Let's go.
Good form. Good form.
alrighty.
Doors open.
So you're diving down in. You begin to make your way east. Do you pull the latch down closed afterwards? Okay, so you pull it closed, kind of cover your entrance in, and begin to make your way east and at a very quick pace, I'm assuming, because you know you've got a limited amount of time. Who is going to be helming this? Who's in front? 2 people.
I will.
God. Jules is exploding with magical energy. The spirits are too much for Jules to handle.
How many scrolls of protection from good and evil do we have?
I don't
I
know.
know we've got at least 1.
I think it was 3.
There's 3.
3? Okay. Should we
If no one's taking point out front, I'll go up as a fighter meat shield.
Yeah, I don't have dark vision, but outside of that, I am definitely one of the folks versed to do this. Do you have dark vision, Les?
I do, yeah.
Cool. So yeah, Les can definitely like lead point, and then Galahad and Jules for sure as a unit, because one has the scroll and one has definitely caused harm to this thing. So
Jules doesn't have the scroll.
Margot. Oh, Galahad has it.
Yeah, Jules gave it to Galahad since he got it.
Okay. So Margot and I are the ones who can't see down here, right?
I also don't have dark vision.
All right, cool. I guess maybe Les and Jules are up top.
Okay.
Maybe we light a torch.
Do you want to light a torch?
I will say I can definitely, throw fireballs down another alleyway again.
Yes, very accurate.
No.
Mm-hmm. It worked out really great before.
It worked out great for you. Yeah.
For me.
Hey, you got a kill.
That's all. You shouldn't have gotten in my way.
Maybe we light a torch. I don't want to take chances with bumping into bad
I'm
shit.
the torch.
Wait, are you actually
Nothing
using
says
produce
light
flame?
the way like fireball in a hallway.
Maybe I'll just give Les Paul a torch and you can take point if that's okay.
Give me that. I'm sensitive about this shit.
All right. So torch lighting the way. Jules and Les, I'll get you guys to go ahead and make perception checks for me, please. Jules, you are at disadvantage.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure Jules remembers.
That's a nat 20 and a 7. Hold on, let me see.
Oh!
Perception?
Perception.
I got a +2, so that's 9.
9. Les?
14.
14. Okay. Starting to push your way forward. You know the path. It's one path. You follow it all the way to the end to where that Y junction is. The one path cutting south, you know that one is off to the right. That's going to lead further out of town. The other cutting north, and that's the one that you know eventually snakes its way into that hallway where you had to engage with those hellhounds. You push your way up to the top of that hallway, lest you peek around the corner where you and Galahad were ambushed previously by the couple of hellhounds, and instinctively you just listen, get everybody to silence themselves, kind of push your consciousness out as far as you can, trying to listen down that hallway. Doesn't seem to be any sound coming from further ahead. You push in a little bit further, and instinctively, trident at the ready, peek around the corner. No sounds of barking, of embers of any kind, except for coming from the torch. Best you can tell, the way ahead seems to be clear. You come up and you see that same wall that looked to be caved in that you guys cleared the passageway from, and you see that that passageway is still clear. All of the rocks that you had moved still out of the way. And going into the next room, you see the boxes with a lot of the clothes and discarded items that were clearly taken from some of the bodies of the people that were brought down here. Those are all still in place. And then eventually you come into the final room.
Is there any new clothing?
Good question. Make an investigation check for me.
Because our boy Fial Tees, that's a nat 20.
Bam!
Okay. Inside this room, there does appear to be a little bit of new clothing.
Yeah, Nebula walking by, seeing the clothing and noting that there seems to be more, has definitely taken a peek through to see if he recognizes any of it and if there's anything in them.
you recognize on the top of the pile of all the boxes, there appear to be farmhands, fairly generic denim-style clothing that matches what you had seen Fealty's wearing. And you also see a new set of Crownsguard armor and underwear, the padded shirts, and a padded shirt, I should say, the leggings, the boots, as well as a spear leaning up against the wall.
At this point, it doesn't look good for our friend.
I could have gave him the best night of his life.
Your chance may still come yet, depending on what's behind that door.
No, that's not a cannon. No!
If his name was written down, they might have needed them for something, and I don't think just a corpse makes sense.
So you think they're still alive?
They could be vessels, perhaps, or something of the sort. But I think we'll know more once we actually get behind that door. What better to protect than the thing you require?
Good point. Let's get to it.
And so, yeah, we push past that then, heading towards the scary door.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get you guys to take a look at roll 20.
Oh shit, roll 20's a thing.
Yep. I'm just going to pull your characters here. So you guys were all in this room here.
Hey yo, I'm a big ass cat. I'ma punch you in the face with my weird backwards claw.
Everyone bring some magical catnip. Watch it freak
I
out.
possibly offer. If we offer up less, do you think they like fish people?
Hey!
Probably.
I mean, he is a cat.
Exactly.
I'm just saying, it seems like it makes sense, doesn't it?
Galaxy with us.
Oh,
Oh,
yes, Galaxy is with us.
Rough. I'm
Bork.
Galaxy the
Rough,
fucking dog.
Bork.
Yeah,
Uh,
Galaxy
Bork.
doesn't go away unless dispelled or killed. And that's the nice thing after I've summoned him once, is I don't have to burn slots to keep bringing him back. He's continuous till death.
Can you just imagine if your
Still
steed
dead.
was anything other than a dog? If you like chose an elephant or a camel?
Alrighty, so with you guys being in that room, Galahad, you looking over the discarded clothes and pieces of material and things, you do see that there are the two new additions, which you would imagine are probably Fealty's clothes, and then the Crownsguard armor, padding, and then that single spear as well. You've got the tables there, still blood-stained. You've got the wall that you step around, you know, eventually leads to the doorway into that main central chamber.
So, hey, Phelan, buddy.
Oh, did you guys decide is Phelan with you?
Yes, please.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Please.
please. Okay. Alright, so... Yes?
Looks like they might have relocked some stuff down here. Clearly there's been more attention, probably since you had to let them know we came down here. Any chance we could get that door open again?
I can do my best. I'll see what I can do. And he makes his way over with his thieves' tools. Now, I don't have Phelan's character sheet, but I think I can...
He's got magical leisure domain, so he can do it from range with Mage Hand.
Yes, he can. So he's going to be around the corner there. He's got thieves' tools. He has expertise in thieves' tools. And his stat
Could be a
is
plus 3
5.
proficiency.
And I think he's got plus 5 on his deck, so it's plus 11 to his roll. Alrighty.
No big deal, you know, just what it is.
So
That's why we bring him.
plus 11 to his roll. Here we go. That
Plus
is
20
a-
now, hearts.
That is a natural 14 for a 25. That is enough. So he is able to unlock that first door, gaining you access into the brazier chamber. So all of you should be able to move your tokens into there.
Dope.
We're gonna let him get the next one open first.
Alrighty. So he's kind of going to be at the door. Do you want to do the same thing you did last time, where you guys are there to slam the door as quick as you can if it starts to go off?
Yep, and I'll have my shield ready to try and...
Sounds
But-
good. So he's going to be
Yeah.
behind
Well,
you. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, he would be like right there.
Yeah, and you're kind of in front, reaching over him, ready to slam the door closed. So this is going to be, if he fails, it's going to be a check on your end to try and slam it before the fire gets through. All right, so here we go.
Nebula's there too.
Yep. He goes to unlock the door. Yep, natural 11 plus 11 is a 22. That is enough. So he's able to unlock that door as well. So you guys have gained access into the bottom chamber.
Should we bother with any of the other pathways?
See if we can open the doors.
I mean, Phelan seems to be getting pretty lucky. It might not hurt.
There might be something we've missed.
I think
Try it.
I don't like the idea of giving any more time to this thing in case it's figured out that we're here.
exactly. I think that we need to open the final door first before we can come and circle back through here if nothing goes wrong.
But what if Fealties is somewhere behind the untapped doors?
Then we'll come back through.
If he's
Okay.
anywhere, might be in that room at the table.
All right. Then let's go.
Okay.
And yeah, we'll head into the bottom chamber.
All right. So the door unlocks. You start to slowly push your way into the room. A little bit of light spills in from the brazier. And when you had stepped in here last time, the room was fully unlit. This time, a pair of torches are lit on the far wall. And you see, chained to the side of the table, a currently unconscious Fealties Bladebane.
Nebula holds up two hands so nobody moves.
You see chains around his legs and his arms, all pulled behind his back. He's lying essentially face down on his chest, a heavy gag in his mouth, blood pooling around the top of his head. But you do see that his body seems to be lifting and falling a little bit. He does appear to be breathing.
Divine sense, please.
Yeah, no, absolutely divine sense.
Both of you simultaneously, you just instantly start looking around the room. You don't see anything inside the room, but you do notice that the door on the far side of the room is ajar.
How can it be ajar if it's a door, Geordie?
Because when it's not a door, it's ajar.
It's a me, a Mario.
I'm going to position myself at the corner where the door is.
I want to run over to Fealties.
I'm gonna point to Margot, like before she moves, and just hold a finger to my lips and make the symbol for do not speak. And then I'm gonna point to Jules and tap.
Cool. Yeah. Jules will open up Awakened Mind.
So yeah, Margot do whatever, but I was just saying do not
I
speak out loud.
run over to Fealties and I inspect him closer, like the closer range. Obviously, blood and everything, but I'm trying to discern
Okay.
where most of the damage is coming from.
Make a medicine check.
13?
This fucking tiger.
Sorry, 14?
13.
13. He seems to have a large gash on his upper arm, kind of just below where his arm connects to his shoulder, and it seems to be a good chunk of the ways down. It seems to have been tied off in some way to ensure that he doesn't die from blood loss.
A tourniquet?
Tourniquet of sorts, more closer to bloodletting, trying to get as much blood out of his body as possible before he dies.
Gross.
But
I
but touching him, checking to ensure that he is a real entity, it does appear to be him from what you can see. But he is still unconscious, and even you like moving him around a little bit, he doesn't rise from his current state.
I point at Nebula and I make like a breaking motion, and I try to start working on what's tying him up while trying to be as silent as I can.
Okay.
Yeah, Nebula will come forward, and you said there's a gash on the arm?
There is a gash on the upper arm, yeah.
Yeah, so Nebula first is going to point at Jules for the symbol to speak, and with Awakened Mind open, will say to Jules, if he starts to stir, talk to him mentally so that he knows it's us.
Yeah. Nebula can also definitely tell when she opens up Awakened Mind to him that it hits him like a wall of just sluggishness because she's not entirely.
Okay.
So,
I feel like the visual depiction would be Jules just standing in like an entire like foggy haze, just trying to call out for him.
definitely.
Almost making us foggy when we connect it. Like,
Yeah.
the hell?
While the past Awakened Minds have felt weird and like smooth, this one definitely hits you like a wave of force.
okay. And then I'm going to reach over, and on that slash, I'm going to use 5 of my lay on hands to try and seal up that bleeding wound.
Okay. So with your lay on hands, you reach down and kind of trace a line along it as if creating a scar, a suture of sorts. It's drawing them over and kind of pulling it closer together, and the wound does seal with a little bit of radiant light as it closes up, and you can see that the breathing starts to get a little bit easier, the body rising and falling in comparison to the kind of more ragged breaths. But every once in a while you see him just kind of like jolt and shudder a little bit, twitching as if in some kind of pain, even in his unconscious state.
And I'm going to look back to Jules one last time, and I'm going to say, I'm going to try something. Tell everyone else to be prepared if he's already in trouble.
She'll do so. And all of you feel that wave of like force with the Awakened Mind.
And I reach over, and with a first level spell, I cast Protection from Good and Evil. That means, you gave us the spell, but he's got disadvantage. He has advantage against being attacked from aberrations, celestials, fiends, fae, undead, and elementals. Mm-hmm. And he cannot be frightened, charmed, or possessed by them.
Okay.
And if the target is already charmed, frightened, or possessed, they have advantage on the new save.
Yep.
When Nebula does this, Jules is also going to open up Awakened Mind to him, which I just looked up. There doesn't specify awake or asleep, so it's up to you, Jordy, whether or not this works. But
just read it for me.
Starting at first level, your alien knowledge gives you the ability to touch minds of other creatures. You can telepathically speak with any creature you can see within 30 feet of you. You don't need to share a language with the creature for it to understand your telepathic utterances, but the creature must be able to understand at least one language.
Okay, understood. So, given the nature of unconscious, they are unable to have communication unless it is a magical form of like sleep, essentially, that forces them into a slumber where they are paralyzed. In this case, you attempt to open Awakened Mind, you grasp onto the consciousness, and you send something through. So your thoughts that you send through, the words that you speak, are very clear. They're very tangible. They're intelligent. They're clear, concise thought. What you receive back is fear, pain, anguish, just constant, as if just constantly being racked with pain over and over.
Yeah.
Not enough to form a coherent sentence. Clearly not a conscious creature able to have communication, but you at least get a general idea of the mental space of the individual. I'll give you that. It's for flavor, basically.
Not to be meta for someone else here, but would Jules recognize that fucking sensation?
Jules, do you want to ask me if you recognize that sensation?
Yeah, do I recognize? Would I recognize that?
You do. As the exact same sensations that you went through the previous evening when you were attempting to sleep. Yours being voluntary, this very clearly being involuntary.
Yeah.
And you kind of looking over the body as you get that, and you see Margot doing that medicine check, looking over, you see that there are several scratches that match the claw marks, that match the single claw mark that was on your arm.
Yeah. Okay.
But so with that, Fialti's unconscious, breathing, alive, the blood letting and the slowly growing pool of blood underneath him now stopped, but he is still unconscious.
Yeah. Jules will relay the nightmare, and that Fialtes is probably going through the same thing to Nebula and to Margot.
Okay.
Specifically.
I am at this door. I'm waiting for that fucking door to move even slightly. I'm fucking ready.
We got Major League Baseball Galahad at the door, ready to go.
It's the bottom of the night.
Casey at the
This
bat.
bitch pointing to the outfield.
No. Les?
Les.
While they've all been doing this, I would have just been giving the room a second over to see if I can glance at anything that might have been left behind while they're focused on the one individual.
Okay, make an investigation check.
Ninjaless. Natural 17.
Nice.
21.
21.
Ninjaless.
The party for
Or
the
sorry,
most 20. The party for the most part is focused on the person they know. Fialtes is somebody that you had imagined was on that list of initials. Basically, mostly dead, unconscious body in front of you. Everybody focused on that, with the exception of Galahad watching the other door and Phelan backing him up, daggers at the ready. You, kind of on the other side of the table, getting a better look at what else is there, you see a lot more blood on your side of the table as well. And you see fresh blood patches on the table itself. Look like drips that had fallen. And then you notice heavy, deep gashes that are filled with blood on the table as well.
Can I take one of my empty vials and put blood into it?
You certainly can. You have a vial of blood.
Okay.
Snack for later.
No.
Okay, so
Forbidden ketchup.
Nebula will make the motions towards everyone, pointing at the door, and then will telepathically connect with Galaxy. Now, when you say the door is ajar, is it cracked or is it open?
It is, we'll say, of the 90 degrees that it could be, it's about 30 degrees. So it's
Cool.
not like just barely open. There is a little bit of a gap.
Enough for the dog to get through? If not, he'll just teleport because he can see.
Yeah, not enough for the dog to get through. He would have to teleport.
Cool. So I will telepathically tell Galaxy to be our scout and to teleport into the next area, and I will relay my information of what it should look like.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll wait to hear what I get back from Galaxy.
Are we telepathically connected at any stage?
I would... yeah, I think anytime, I think we just make a motion at Jules to connect us.
Yeah, is that correct?
Sorry, I was muted. Jules can only connect with others, can't.
Well, yeah, but like to relay a message, yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't you say that the Rakshasa can sort of jump in on your mental connections? Maybe we should go hand gestures.
Yeah.
Fuck.
There is
Echo Niner 101.
Galaxy for you to be able to control.
Cool. And then when that comes back, I'll think about that.
Okay.
He's going to hear our mental thoughts anyways. So, and this is what I'm telling to Jules to pass on. So, having Galaxy be the first to see or be seen is safer for us to give us a moment to prepare.
Jules just reiterates that.
So,
Get some
Sure.
protection scrolls on active.
yeah, who all can cast those scrolls? Because I can, and Galahad can, because it's on our spell list. Who else
Okay.
can cast the protection scrolls? Because you should
Oh
have.
wait, the protections.
Warlocks
Hold on.
can, wizards
Hold-
cannot. Wizards can, sorry. I think it's just Margot who can't. Gary.
Can less?
Cool. That's fine.
When
The thing with these, remember, is that you're casting these so you don't use the spell slot, but they are, I believe they're concentration.
10-minute concentration.
10-minute concentration.
Yeah, so one of these is active. So you said, Nebula, you'd used yours spell scroll on fealties.
I don't have a scroll. It's just my ability.
Oh, okay. Right, it's your ability. Okay, so you've used that.
I'll toss one to Jules.
Okay. Jules, you had a question?
when fealties, like when Nebula casts that onto fealties, does it look like he's no longer having the nightmare?
No.
Okay.
It didn't seem to have any effect on whatever this is. Does not appear to be something that that will dissuade whatever this effect is.
So it did not cure nightmares. Got it. Cool.
Correct. So
That tells me what the nightmares are.
Do you mind sharing with the rest of the class?
Yeah, I think if Jules like asks or anything, Nebula would say, based on your description, I figure you'd be familiar with curses.
Great.
Yippee-ki-yay.
So, with Galaxy having blinked through the door onto the other side, did you want him to proceed down the hallway?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have I gotten fealties completely undone at this point?
He's chained, so without a key or lockpicks from Phelan, you could ask Phelan to try and pick the locks if you'd like.
Could I try to, like, melt it?
You could try, but heating metal wrapped around somebody's wrists.
What if I was trying to break... No, what if I was trying to break the chain, not necessarily get him out of handcuffs? Like, just trying... So that way, like, we could move him if need be.
You could. It would not be a quick process, right? Just like a blacksmith working on armor, it's not like it's instantly hot enough to sever it. You would have to sit there for some time heating it up to the point where it's malleable, and then you would be able to separate it. It's doable, but not quickly.
Your boy Phelan's got that plus 11.
Send in the bugbear!
And he just kind of goes over and just kind of kneels down beside him. Let me take care of this. And
I will give you so many charcuterie boards.
yeah, natural 14, that's a 25, more than enough. He's able to undo both of the locks that are holding his hands, and his hands just kind of slump to the side, and then he moves around to the legs behind. And he'd been kind of, like, for lack of a better term, he was essentially trussed. His hands and his legs were out at the back with his knees bent up backwards so that his feet were vertical, and then his hands were clamped to his knee, to the back of his feet. So he was like full on back like this.
I use my body as like a counterweight to basically like hold fealties against me so Phelan can easily reach like his legs.
Yeah, easy enough to do. And between you and Phelan, the two of you kind of helping make sure that nothing impacts the ground too hard. We'll say that you don't need to make a stealth check or anything to try and prevent that from happening.
A 25, I hope not.
Exactly. So with that, you guys have fealties unlocked. He is still unconscious. He is essentially dead weight at this point, and he's a big boy. He's probably in excess of about 260 pounds. But he is at least unconscious on the ground, and you kind of roll him over a little bit and get him into a little bit of a more comfortable position. But he's still knocked out.
Okay, then I send Galaxy forward.
Alrighty. So Galaxy pushing down the hallway, very carefully rounds the corner. Go ahead and make a perception check for me as Galaxy. So
Cool.
+3.
On sight, hearing, or wisdom?
This will be on
sight, hearing, or smell?
Hearing, so it will be at advantage.
That is a 17 plus 3 for a 20.
Dirty 20, okay. So Galaxy making his way down the hallway.
And I gave Galaxy a very specific rule. Do not say anything to me unless you see something.
Got it.
Unless you sense something.
Yeah, unless you perceive something.
Yeah.
Bark, you've got it.
Don't tell me there's nothing, because that might give us away.
Yeah, exactly. Alrighty, so you get the blink dog to move a little bit further down. Galaxy peeks around the corner. Ears perk up. Doesn't seem to be any sound.
That's
You want to keep going?
Yep, they would advance.
Okay. Keeps going. Ears still up. You're still not getting anything?
And then to peek around the corner, they would probably approach.
Approaching, the door is closed. Same seams not visible. You see the same visage of the demonic face with the lock, the gap where that key of sorts would fit into. But the key is in the door.
Can they smell anything like other people?
There are no scents that they are coming back to you with. I also misspoke. The key is not in the door, I should say. But the door itself is closed.
Ooh.
All right, then Galaxy would walk back and not mentally say anything.
Yep.
And Galaxy would just come back.
Got it. And them coming back would lead you to believe that they didn't smell or see or hear anything.
Okay.
Okay.
And then, once they teleport back into the room, I'd say I motion forward.
All right.
Point to Phelan and the door quietly open.
Okay. And Phelan
So I don't
comes
know.
over and just slide a hand check on the door.
Phelan.
That is not great, actually.
No!
They do not have expertise. They are proficient, so that's a 13. So Phelan kind of comes over and the door opens, kind of gets it just wide enough for them and Galahad to be able to step through, and it hits a bit of a snag and a bit of a on the ground as it grates over a rock. All of you just kind of pause for a second. What do you want to do?
Keep going
I
quiet.
think we advance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Advancing into the hallway, everybody lining up single file. Who's going to be in front?
The Paladin boys are going in front.
Let's go.
And I point to Galahad and say, I probably have to use Jules for this talk, just to say you should probably protect from good and evil.
Okay. So,
I'll look at Jules, who has one of the scrolls.
Ooh, it's going to cost you a...
nope. Scrolls don't use one of your spell slots.
Yeah, it's going to cost a scroll, though.
It's going to cost a
We
scroll.
got 3 of them.
And you 3 are the
Who
only
are
ones who can
you?
cast them anyway, so... It's just essentially just making it
Should
so
we
you don't have to
cast
use a
them
spell slot.
before we see the guy, or should we wait until we know we're dealing with them?
I feel like popping one might as well be a safe bet.
Sure.
Not to mention that outside of the scrolls, we do have casts of it as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, Jules, you were about to say.
Perhaps I should use the spell on myself if I'm going to be casting. Or wait, concentration. Fuck.
Dispel
Maybe.
magic isn't a concentration.
Oh, dispel magic isn't a concentration? Wonderful. Okay.
I don't think Jules is going to be using the dispel magic. I'm just sorry.
Oh, yeah. Galahad.
Okay.
So maybe
Um,
Jules uses protective magic
whoever-
on Galahad as I go first.
Whoever is going to cast dispel magic should take the protection from good and evil, just in case.
Well, I'll go first. Do you want me to do it? I'll do it.
Uh,
Got enhanced ability as well, so
All right.
what's your bonus again?
it is. It's not
6, I
an
think,
almighty +8, but I think it's 6. At advantage. Yep, +6 at advantage with D4.
Ooh, buddy. Enhanceability is a concentration,
Yeah, but dispel
Yeah.
magic isn't.
but protection, good and evil would be.
So, but
No, I'm
Jules
saying
would
Jules
cast
that on me.
Galahad.
Got it. Okay, work around.
I get the circus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all.
It's all about who's concentrating on what.
Yeah. All
Alright.
right. You get me?
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
sounds
Big
good.
brain things. Big brain things.
Big brain things. All right. So, protection from good and evil.
On
Is a
the
touch spell.
gal.
Yep. All right. So, Jules, you reach in, you grab the spell scroll for protection and good and evil. You open it up, and the words form onto the page, and you begin reading the spell quite quietly under your breath, and reach out and touch Galahad and your palm just transfers this radiant energy. Galahad, you feel like there's almost like a bit of a fuzz on the outside of your skin, and you very, very faintly glow for a second, and then it just sinks into your metal form. And you have protection from good and evil active, so we're going to give you a marker that you have that. We'll say that you've got protection. You can't enhance ability on yourself as well.
Yep, I cast Eagle's Splendor to give me that advantage on my spellcasting checks.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to say that one is spellcasting, which will be that one. Okay, so you've got those 2 abilities on yourself, and you start to make your way down the hallway.
Alrighty. Let's move up. Oh, I'm feeling my heart's beating. Righty, so let's move up.
Okay. So, looking at the outside of the door, you see the keyhole, and you kind of instinctively pull the Dispel Magic scroll out, and the words begin to form onto the page. And you
Wait,
start
this
to...
isn't the scroll? We've been trying to reach you about your car's extended.
Jesus. And as the words form onto the page, you kind of feel the magic emanating off of the door, and the scroll lines almost seem to be willing to reach out and grasp onto it to try and attempt to dispel it. So, with that, I need you to make a spellcasting ability check. So, D20.
With advantage. Plus
Do it.
With advantage.
Do it.
Plus inspiration from chat for a D4. Your DC is...
Don't use your D4 if you don't need to. First roll and see if your +6 beats a 16.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Natural 15!
Oh!
21!
Ah!
21.
Yeah!
21!
So,
The other roll was a 3, but don't worry about it.
so just to clarify as well, because you guys haven't moved your tokens, is Galahad alone in the hallway, or are you guys all following after what's going on?
Galaxy and Nebula would be
Be
in
there.
pursuit.
Yeah, Jules would be nearby because she would have had to cast Protection of Good and Evil.
Okay. Phelan would be in the hallway as well, probably pretty nearby. In the reverse of the opposite, to kind of try and pull Galahad out of the way if something went sideways.
Margot and Les?
Is Margot staying with the dragon?
You guys know that this
There's
door
nothing
is...
I can do. I'm torn and want to stay, but it's...
You're gonna stay behind and just like keep an eye on him while they just figure out the door. I assume. Well, I guess. Can you wake and mind us to let us know that you opened the door?
It could be done. It hasn't been communicated.
I have
Right.
to be in visual sight, 30 feet visual.
I don't think we clearly were like made details about. We just were like open the door, but then we didn't actually discuss like who is going to the door.
I could cast message towards Jules and open the communication since I know the way that they went.
I'm sure that we communicated with everybody about what we were doing. I doubt we would have left you guys in the room without saying anything.
Because my thing is, if
Right.
Margot is staying behind with the Dragonborn, then I will stay as a sort of just to back her up. And then when you guys open the magical door with the dispel,
We'll
to be
advance.
like, we open the door, like it's all good coming over here. I don't
I
feel
think
good
that
about
works.
leaving Margot by themselves.
Yeah. Okay, I think we've got the setup then. Phelan and Galahad are right there. Galaxy and Nebula are there, but Nebula has like stayed right back, just avoiding any secondary traps, and looks like Jules is there within range as well.
Okay. So, with the spell scroll being read, Galahad, as quietly I can imagine as you can under your breath, reading the words, reaching out, and as the spell finishes, the words begin to fade. You just feel the magical energy transfer through your arm up across your chest, this kind of light blue glow running down your hand, almost like crackling like lightning down to the end of your hand, and you just kind of reach out and touch your fingertips to the edge of the door, and then just press. And as you do, the energy instantly reaches out from your hand and presses against the door, and the door itself takes a second. You think for a second it might not have worked, and then all of a sudden you start to hear a little like a little bit of a groaning sound almost, as if a heavy weight being placed. And then looking over to the side, you see that hinges have begun to appear on the left side of the door. And the door itself is now visible with a clear line around the outside, and a set of hinges set to push inwards into the room.
It worked.
And as those hinges appear, you guys up at the front, now with that little tiny bit of a gap, sound begins to escape. And you're hearing very low, guttural, and a loud, angry bark of some kind from the other side of the door, and then you hear the sound of what sound like flames erupting from the other side. And then...
Russian pyromancers.
Nebula is immediately walking back and making the motion at the crew.
Yeah.
Like,
We got to go.
we gotta go.
So you guys going towards the door now? Like, as in, we gotta go, we're coming towards the door, we're gonna go in the
Yeah,
door?
we've got to, like,
Okay.
I think we're going in there.
Okay. So all of you lining up kind of on a 3-2-1, and as you go to make your first step forward, you feel the ground beneath your feet just as 4 heavy footfalls land onto the ground.
Fuck. I'm going to transfer my protection from evil and good by casting another one onto myself, and no longer on Pjoltes, who is out there.
Okay. So Nebula, you've got it on yourself. Jules, you still have it on Galahad. Galahad, do you want to leave your enhanced ability up?
There's no reason not to. There's no reason to drop it now, unless.
Yeah, it's sort of like a charisma check block, so.
Yeah, I'll leave it up.
Okay. So leaving that up on yourself, and you hear those 4 heavy footfalls onto the ground, and then you start to hear again the familiar guttural sounds underneath you, coming from the other side of the door of the.
But what I will do,
What you will do?
I will use my secondary channel divinity,
Yep.
Peerless Athlete. For the next 10 minutes, I have advantage on all my athletics and acrobatics checks, double carry weight, distance of my
Nice.
jumps increased.
Damn, you're just a fucking athlete. Love it. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
All right, so
Hydraulics came out of Galahad's body.
you become whatever his name is from My Hero Academia.
Oh god.
But as you hear those 4 heavy footfalls and you hear the guttural, coming from the other side, Jules, you speak Infernal, correct?
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
So
Oh boy.
you
I
hear,
also speak Infernal in case that needs to come into play.
you also speak Infernal?
I do.
Okay, awesome. So the 2 of you in that hallway, Jules, you're a little bit closer. Margot, where are you? Move your character.
I leave fealties and
Bringing up the rear.
I think I'm going to bring up the rear because I just keep thinking of how useless I was the last fight against like the Hellhounds. And I'm like, I need to stay behind and see.
Maybe these guys won't be immune to fire. You know, we'll see.
Okay. All right.
I don't know that yet.
Maybe they're just resistant. Who knows?
So Margot, with how far away you are from the door, you wouldn't hear this one, but with Jules, you being just in behind Phelan, you would kind of catch the little bits of it, and you would hear, "Hey, Thor, I have come. I have brought you to this plane. Let us send them to our masters.
Fuck.
Hold your tide while I bring your brother." So hold your tide while I bring your brother. Do you guys want to open the door? What's going on?
Jules is gonna whisper to everybody as quietly as she can that what he just fucking said.
Do we have any knowledge on who that is?
Can we make checks?
Fill up!
So this is the thing. This is all happening really quickly. You can awaken mind to one character at a time, right?
I'm just gonna whisper.
You're gonna whisper. Okay, so
I'm whispering it.
Phelan, Galahad, and Nebula would be able to hear that. Anybody beyond that, you're too far away.
Okay.
So you guys would all be able to make a quick history check for me for the name Hail Thor.
Nope.
Also,
Yeah,
Sorry.
14.
Phelan technically as well. None of you recognize the name. Jules, you're pretty well, not well versed per se, but like you know the powerful things, like the big archdemon devil kind of things. Doesn't sound like it's one of those, but I'll bring your brother. Kind of sticks in your head, and as you kind of whisper that, you guys start to hear footfalls closing in on the door from the other side.
Okay.
I make the motion.
Achaidh door.
Let's go.
All right, so go ahead. You're booting down the door. Alrighty, so
Yeah, I'm prepping an
FBI,
Eldritch Blast.
so
I am prepping an Eldritch Blast for whatever shows its face.
It's fine. It's not like me unless we're bottlenecked at the end of the hallway. It's okay.
Yeah. I would rush up and call Galaxy to my side.
call Galaxy to your side. Okay. So you start to
Fine.
hear a couple of footfalls closing in on the door. Galahad, you boot the door down. You slide yourself one spot forward, right up against it, as you shove the door in, and
Is there a motherfucker in front of me?
you looking directly into the room. You're the only person who can currently see inside in its entirety, and you see.
Oh my god.
So you see, and let me make my description.
Holy shit.
The door swings inward to the room. The packed earth floor ends abruptly and is instantly replaced by perfectly smooth, flat stone tiles, roughly 50 feet square. Near the center of each of the other walls is a large metal basin, while the floor has an incredibly intricate design etched in black. A massive skull, mouth open and teeth barred, with a pair of long, curved horns laying upon a bed of wilting flowers, drawn carefully and precisely. And around it, on all sides, a series of runes. In the center of the room, you see the Rakshasa, the entity whose true name has not yet been revealed to you. But in addition to that Rakshasa, you see something else. You see a massive creature, entity standing up to its full height, closing in on 12 feet as it takes a heavy step forward. Two massive, muscular brown arms with vicious claws at the end wave aside the air inside the room. They are attached to what almost looks like a humanoid torso of hardened stone, but where the legs would be, you see the creature elongates into a horse-like base with armored front and hind legs and a scaly hide that extends over 10 feet across, with a nearly 8-foot-long armored tail whipping through the air. The tail is tipped by a serrated piece of bone that snaps back and forth like the end of a whip, as the creature kind of looks in at the noise and looks at the Rakshasa moving its way towards the door. A set of flowing blue and red robes allowing for more easy movement on the Rakshasa, it raising a paw as if to reach for the door's handle. But instead, having the door booted in, it kind of impacts against the hand and the creature recoils a little bit. And you see these guys right in front of you.
Oh, tell me I get to fucking take a swing at him if he's right there.
Ah!
Holy fuck! What
And
is that?
that is where we're going to end this week's session.
No!
Ah!
Wait, if all of us vote to do the fight right now, could we keep going?
I mean, we could, if you guys are willing to go for probably about another hour at least. It's up to you.
This is probably a 3-hour fight. Just saying.
I would like Phelan to be present for this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
All right. But
If it weren't for Phelan being missing, I would Christ.
We can't do without Moose, guys. We love Moose too much.
We love Moose too much. He's got to be here for this one. But you see yourselves face to face with a Rakshasa and an entity that none of you, let alone Galahad, have any idea what it is. But the visage of it is enough to strike a bit of a heavy gulp of fear down anyone's throat.
What the fuck, Jody?
You hear Les Paul from behind the group as Galahad opens the door. Did we find anything?
For those of you in chat, I'm going to just zoom in so you can see what the creature looks like in its token form.
Shit.
Crazy.
What kind of fucking demon is that?
I'm gonna throw my blood vial at it, and it'll die.
Sure.
Perfect strategy.
Use catapult with the blood vial for extra 3d6.
I don't have spells!
Oh, well, fuck you.
So, with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up for the session. Thank you so much to everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for coming back after our very long break. We are obviously excited to be back at the table. We're so happy to be back and playing this campaign. I'm happy that I get to give you guys the fight that I've been setting up for so long and give some awesome details with some awesome rolls and some awesome ideas of ways to kind of pull Philip out of his his long time undercoverness. We'll put it that way.
I still don't really know what's going on with that. I still have no idea.
Yeah, I'm
Philip's
super stoked. But this is definitely going to be where we pick up next week. Well, not next week, in 2 weeks. Hopefully with Moose. Fingers crossed. We're all praying everything goes well. Everybody send big, huge love to Moose. He's going through some stuff, and we miss him dearly, and we want to see his face back here really soon. So yeah, so give him some
Can
love.
I promote a live stream I'm doing tomorrow?
Absolutely, go for it. Do your thing.
Tomorrow I'm going to be live streaming at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I believe, on Twitch, the Dragons of the Round Table. It's a charity live stream for, I know we're working with the Trevor Project and something else. So come and join me in charity and D&D, and I'm going to be playing a Warforged. Dragons of the Round Table.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'll be playing the Resident Warforged. Ollie, get out my way.
Oh, really?
And what time is the
Yeah.
stream?
1 p.m. EST.
1 p.m. EST. And that's tomorrow?
Hey, I'll stay.
Yep.
Beautiful. Alrighty, check Lance out at Dragons of the Round Table tomorrow at 1 p.m. EST. Have fun with that one. Get to play a very opposite character to Jules, I'm guessing, and that's gonna be sweet. But
very excited.
But yeah, this one's gonna be great. I'm stoked for how this combat progresses. And you were lucky that you set out before dawn, so that only one of the brothers was summoned. That was the exciting part. So. Thank you again.
It's okay, I kicked in the door, he's right in front of me.
Right in front of you. You're going to fucking swing.
Big morning call.
Yeah. But with that, we're going to go ahead and call it for this evening.
Jehovah's Witness, motherfucker!
Ding dong! Ding dong. So, thanks again for everybody in the chat. We love you guys. Stay happy, stay healthy, wash your hands, get vaccinated, and we'll see you guys back here very soon.